asking a man a question. And so he answered her question. However, he gave the perspective of a man. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use this video tonight just to get you guys' perspective on it. And then we have two follow-up videos that we're going to show that's going to kind of portray how men can get hurt and what that looks like. Before we do, I do want to shout out all those who are joining. Tariq, I see you in the building. I see you in the building. Everybody hit that like button because the best moderator in the land said so. Okay.
That's right.
Quincy, I see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Good evening, good people. Jeffrey, good evening, Sister Precious, the chat, the mods, and the future panel. He giving love to everybody. Eugene, thank you so much for being here. Quincy said, all right now, all right now. He said, looking good. Precious just had to get that out the way. I appreciate you, Q. Peace to the channel. Hi, Hank. Eugene, Hank, you got a fan in the chat. Who else is here? Lady Navoa, thank you so much for being here, love. I'm trying to see if I see anybody else. All righty. So we're going to get into tonight's discussion. And before we do that, just want to let you guys know that tonight's show is sponsored by jecreativehosting.com. So if you're looking for a place to host your new website, definitely go over there. Put in the link HCM22 for a discount on your new website. All right, so we're going to get into this video here.
With, being honest with each other.
All right. So, Jack, can you give us some practical principles on how, like for us single women, because I'm still single, right? On how not to ruin an opportunity because we have baggage or insecurities or issues that we are bringing from other situationships. I'm not even going to call them relationships because they're not. They're situationships.
Yeah. You got to do the work. And what I mean by doing the work is doing the work to heal some of the things that you've actually been carrying along all of your life. In terms of men, most men are afraid to admit how much we need women in our lives to compensate for the lack of love that we actually have for ourselves. Wow. We carry around so many things that we are hurt by. And if you ask any man this question, who hurt you? I promise you that he will open up and he will tell you some of the things that you may not like what he says. Mm-hmm. You may not like the fact that he talks about how his uncle punched him in his chest and didn't say anything and just walked away. Mm-hmm. You might not like the fact that he talked about the molestation or some of the things that he's gone through in terms of police brutality, all the things. But the thing is we are hurt, mm-hmm. and we're carrying around some of these baggage. And I think that oftentimes, if you just channel that energy into the right direction by saying, you know what, here is who I am, here is what I have, and here is some of the work that I need to do with myself before I come into a relationship, because if I bring this into the relationship, it's just going to trickle into something that is not healthy.
That's good.
You muted.
Thank you. I wanted to play that clip first because I wanted us to have a premise on the next two clips that we're going to play. Now, a woman asked the question, what can we do as women to avoid certain hardships, knowing that we have baggage coming into the relationship? And when he answered the question, he gave a short answer and said, you got to do the work, right? Everybody knows that you have to do the work. But then he twisted it and he gave the perspective from a man, saying that if, men are afraid to admit that they need women because of the lack of the love that they have for themselves, men carry around a lot of things that they are hurt by. And so I found two clips that really portray how men can get hurt. And one is a parental relationship and the other one is a romantic relationship. But before I go on to those two clips, do you guys have anything to say about the first clip first before we move on? We're going to circle back around it to sum it up, but do you guys have anything to say about it now?
No, I mean, I think that what he said pretty much is true. Was actually just having that conversation with somebody right before this live stream, and the conversation was about that exact subject. Mm-hmm. And the message was pretty much the exact same message or 90% similar. So I don't have anything really to add to it because I think that that was pretty spot on.
Okay.
I don't have anything to add just yet, so I'm gonna continue to listen and be attentive.
Okay.
I agree. He definitely summed it up pretty well
hmm
and really targeted some things that we sometimes are challenged with and we need to address a little bit better.
hmm Alrighty. So we're gonna get into the first clip, and the first clip is of a mother and a son. A lot of times you'll hear people say, well, if you want to know how he's going to treat you, look at the relationship that he has with his mom. That's not always true. But then again, that is the first relationship that you have with a woman. So it is an important relationship to, get some information on, how is the relationship with him and his mom. And so I came across this clip, across this video. I watched the whole video, so I know what happens in the whole video. But I wanted to play this because this can be the seed. This could be where the seed of hurt is planted in a young man's life. So we're gonna play this, and I have some questions for you guys.
Has this fight been going on between you?
When I try to talk to her, she don't want to listen.
You don't either. You don't either.
I try to listen to my mom.
You
All
don't
she does
either.
is yell. I don't want to
You
listen to
don't
nobody
either.
yell all the time.
Well, if somebody
Yelling is a
not
headache.
listening to me and they saying blah, blah, blah and rolling their eyes and slurring it up like you better than
I never
everybody
said
else,
blah, blah,
of course
blah.
I'm going to yell. If
'Cause
I don't
all
feel
you
like
do
he
is yell.
listening, then of course I'm going to yell, duh. And see why he talking about,
What?
I don't want my other son to be out because he's smart, he's in being, he do stuff. This boy don't have no interest in nothing. He don't have no, and you
I
talking about
have
make good
interest in a
grades.
lot of stuff.
Nah, baby,
I'm not gonna make it like I'm just super smart, but I'm trying to work on myself.
Brandon,
Yeah.
what are you interested in doing?
I'm trying to be
I'm
a
so
musical
sick of 'em.
engineer. I want to
And
go
like-
to college
You wanna
so
do
I can be
in music? You want to do a musical engineer?
Yeah, because I love music.
Well, what's your relationship with your father like right now?
My father, we don't even have a relationship. Me and my dad don't have a relationship. We don't.
When was the last time your father told you he loved you?
I don't even know. That, like,
You don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. When was the last time your father gave you a hug?
I haven't had a hug from my father. Probably like on Christmas.
Okay. Do you hug him often?
No.
Nope. We don't hug. We don't do nothing.
I don't like
it's
him
not
enough
even-
to hug him.
I don't like her like that. That's why I don't like her. I don't hug her. I don't even tell her I love
I
her
love
like
him,
that.
but damn, I want to get to the point where I want to hug him and I want to, pat him on his back and stuff. And I do say good things because I say things like, oh, you ain't gonna be, or you gonna be like your daddy because you really ain't.
not
So
gonna make
it
it.
don't matter. But that's what you remind me
That's
of.
not gonna
All
make
that
me try to do
talking,
any better.
all that shutting the door in my face. That's the same stuff his daddy did. Like I told him, you act just like your daddy.
All right, y'all. Let's talk
Ooh.
about it. Let's talk about it.
That was hard to
Yeah,
was-
somebody said that her voice irks the life. Quincy said her voice irks the devil out of me.
man, I understand the daddy.
Right.
I
She-
understand daddy.
Yeah, you can definitely hear it in the voice that the daddy left the mom and not the child. You can definitely hear that in her voice. But I wanted to ask you guys this first question. So seeing what you just saw, right? What kind of man does that produce when he deals with a mother who is verbally abusive the way that she is towards him? What kind of man does that produce? Like, what does he look for in a woman when he's been groomed by a verbally abusive mother?
Well, to me, my opinion, I don't. The woman he's going to get, I don't think he's going to be. He's not going to be able to deal with a woman who's acting like that, talk like that. He's going to be real short with her. I feel like probably any type interaction that's not a cordial interaction, yeah, he's going to cut it short, cut it off, and probably leave her because he's not going to have a tolerance for it because he's immune. He's probably been dealing with that shit all his life. I don't know how old the young man is. I don't know if it even says, but looking at him, he's probably maybe early 20s. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know, and And if he's been dealing with this ever since he came out the womb, and now what she does is compare him to his brother, how good his brother is. That's not helping his self-confidence. You're not building it up in any type of way. You verbally abuse him to him. You emotionally abuse him to him. Talk about you don't even hug him. You don't even want to touch him. The only reason why you got to love him because he's yours. If it wasn't for that, he wouldn't love you. Everything about this woman is wrong. We understand why he act like a child because he's got a child mindset. He doesn't have a man around. He doesn't know what it takes to be a man. But she's acting just like him, a child. She's instead of responding like a grown person should, she's responding like a child. And that's not good. So you're not showing your son anything positive. You're not showing anything uplifting. You're not encouraging him. You're not building him up. You turn him down every time you get a chance. And now he's up to the point where he doesn't even care anymore. That's not how we come out. Boys come out, we love our mother. We'll do anything in the world for our mother. We'll die for our mothers. But when that boy's to that point like that, yeah, you killed him out. He has no faith, spirit, or wants to have any type of relationship with that woman no time soon. It's going to take a lot of years of therapy for that boy to get to a place where he can even accept a hug from her, let alone words of kindness that she means and that he can take as truth and honest. Just my opinion.
Now he's not gonna, love his mother, but I'm wondering what kind of woman that will attract, because will he now look for a woman who is nurturing like his mother wasn't? Because you have women that's like, well, I don't want to be your mom. You hear that all the time, but they really weren't mothered.
He's gonna get that woman that's gonna be quiet, meek, and calm, collective, and no, just the opposite of his mother. I think, because he's dealt with that so much and so long, and you can hear the hurt in his voice. You hear the frustration and disappointment that he has in her. And like I said, it doesn't help that she seems like she constantly compares him to her brother. Right. That doesn't help either. So yeah, I think he's going to get a woman just the opposite. A woman like that, like what his mother is, he will not tolerate that. He will have no time for that shit. Because he said, I just got away from this heifer. Why would I want to get into a marriage or a relationship with another one just like this? I don't see it happening.
Okay. Welcome, Scam. How are you?
All is well.
Good. All right, Sean, what do you think? So what kind of man do you think this will produce, and what outlook do you think he's going to have on women, knowing that his mother was the first woman to pretty much verbally abuse him?
It can go one way where he does find somebody opposite, which should be a blessing because he has actually identified things that he does not like, and has identified what he does not want. So he might be ahead of the curve than far ahead than some of us men are. He might actually have a foot up on some of us men who didn't have the ability to recognize that because we love our mothers, but didn't have the ability to see that those characteristics because we love our mother. And we sometimes overlook some of those shortcomings that our mothers might have had. But I believe that in his case, he is ahead of the curve because he knows, I don't want that. I don't like that. I don't need that. And it's the unfortunate thing is the only way he'll ever be able to hug that is if that changes. And I'm saying that purposely because that I don't even want to beat down a woman, but that characteristic, that attitude, that belligerent, condescending, I mean, we can think of a lot of adjectives that can describe that. And unfortunately, that is so popular in our communities that is destroying a lot of potential relationships.
Hey, if a person is trash and needs to be beat down, gender don't matter. That lady was hot trash. And when I saw the video, I said I gotta cut my camera off because my blood pressure is boiling. That lady is going traumatized her son, compared him to his father, which she has no respect for. She has no respect for her son because apparently the son reminds her so much of dad that is he should distance himself from her and focus on himself. And just because that's his mama, to me, he is under no obligation to do anything for that woman while he grown. I tell him to run.
Ooh.
Get away.
I agree. And I would say, I promise you, had that been us, you would have heard me say, lady, who hurt you?
Yes.
Who hurt you? You would. I promise you would have heard that.
All right. So, Scam, you haven't spoken on the topic yet. What do you think? What kind of man do you think this will produce? And what outlook do you think he's going to have on women dealing with his verbally abusive mother?
I think she passed on the trauma into him. So for him to say he's going to go get some queen goddess, no, he's not going to be able to attract one of those. He's already just as negative as she is. She replicated herself. So he'll be on the dust panels in a couple of years, complaining and crying about women all day. He'll be part of the Blame the Women's Committee. The fact that he's willing to go back and forth shows that it's not, let me explain it. If he was some kind of, I'm looking for something different, I want to be different, he'd just be sitting there quiet the whole time, or he just wouldn't be there. Like if that was me and some woman, let's get on a talk show, I wouldn't go. Like, look, you do what you do. I'm going to be over here doing something different. I won't be there. I won't have that argument. The fact he's willing to go back and forth, he's talking about, and when he sounded like I want to be a music something, it sounded like he was dreaming, which means kind of like a no reality. I'm going to just show up and be a producer or whatever. But that energy is not going to get him any different. But some people who had a toxic mama situation, some hate their dad and worship the mom because of what the mom says about the dad. Which is the dad's fault? Yes. Is it her fault? Yes. Some of them develop the level of anger where they become those very women and they're willing to fight those women, hands and everything, because they develop a hate for women. Some of them just be weak, just weak as hell. That's all I got.
Okay. I'm going to play it again. It looks like we do have some newcomers, so you guys may not have seen the video that I did play. So I'm going to play it one more time. And after I play the video, I'm going to ask you guys one more question about this video to get your perspective on this.
We came all this way.
Oh, wait. Oh, that ain't the video, though.
How long has this fight been going on between you?
When I try to talk to her, she don't want to listen.
You don't either. You don't either.
I try to listen to my mom.
You
All
don't
she does
either.
is yell. I don't want to
You
listen to
don't
my
either.
yell all the time.
Well, if somebody
Yelling is a
not
headache.
listening to me and they saying blah, blah, blah and rolling their eyes and slurring it up like you better than
I never
everybody
said
else,
blah, blah,
of course I'm going to yell. If I
all
don't feel
you
like
do
he
is yell.
listening, then of course I'm going to yell, duh. And see why he talking about,
What?
I don't want my other son to be out because he's smart, he's in bed, he do stuff. This boy don't have no interest in nothing. He don't have no, and you
I
talking about
have
make good
interest in a
grades.
lot of stuff.
Nah, baby,
I'm not gonna make it like I'm just super smart, but I'm trying to work on myself.
Brandon,
Yeah.
what are you interested in doing?
I'm trying to
I'm
be a
so
musical
sick of 'em.
engineer. I want to
And
go
like-
to college
You wanna
so
do
I can be
in music? You want to be a musical engineer?
Yeah, because I love music.
Well, what's your relationship with your father like right now?
My father, we don't even have a relationship. Me and my dad don't have a relationship. We don't. at
When was
all.
the last time your father told you he loved you?
I don't even know. That, like,
You don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. When was the last time your father gave you a hug?
I haven't had a hug from my father. Probably like on Christmas.
Okay. Do you hug him often?
No.
Nope. We don't hug. We don't do nothing.
I don't like
it's
him
not
enough
even-
to hug him.
I don't like her like that. That's why I don't like her. I don't hug her. I don't even tell her I love
I
her
love
like
him,
that.
but damn, I mean, I want to get to the point where I want to hug him and I want to, pat him on his back and stuff. And I do say good things because I say things like, oh, you ain't gonna be, or you gonna be like your daddy because you did really ain't.
not
So
gonna make
it don't matter. But that's what you remind me
That's
of.
not gonna
All
make
that
me try to do
talking,
any better.
all that shutting the door in my face. That's the same stuff his daddy did. Like I told him, you act just like your daddy.
And she smiled like she had a point to prove at the end. Like she's been saying this his whole life, meaning she's really mad at the dad. Like you really mad at your dad because some things are passed down to children from their parents in their blood. There are just some things that I have a friend whose father and his brother, which is the father's son, act just alike. They don't talk, they don't get along, they don't hang out together, but they act just alike. And it is not the fault of the child that he has mannerisms, characteristics, maybe verbiage or whatever that the father uses. And I don't know if I've ever heard someone say in real life, you act just like your daddy. A mother say that to a child. I don't think I've ever heard it in real life, but I know that people have heard it. And when I heard her say that, I'm like, wow, there really are mothers, especially single mothers, that will look at their son, the person that they had from a man that they're no longer with, and use that against the child. I've never seen it, but this is my first time seeing it in real life, and I know it happens all over. My question to you guys is, how can men recover from emotionally abusive mothers? How do men recover from it? Because that has to leave you hurt that your mother, who's supposed to nurture you, who's supposed to care for you, who's supposed to love you, is treating you the way that she is. And you don't have a father on top of it. You have an absentee father or a father who just comes around when he comes around. How does a man recover from that emotion, from an emotionally abusive mother? Because then how do you start your relationships?
I already said it. Step one, cut her. Hey, bye, moms. Step one, start there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this woman is trash. This woman is trash, man. She's the first teacher. Women are the first teacher of the kids, and she has not taught that boy anything. Look, even if the father was in the house, she still would act like this. This is the type of woman who doesn't matter if the father was in his life or in his house. She would still talk and act like this. That's how bad she is. Now, does she blame the father for the other son doing good? Or is he a father of a different man? I don't know. Is she getting the father the credit, who she considered the better child, the more accomplished child, the more respectful child, the more disciplined child? Is she giving him the credit? Just like she's giving her I guess her oldest son the blame? Is he getting the props? Probably not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blame the daddy for this bullshit ass son I got here. But the young ones, oh, it's all me. He wouldn't be this if it wasn't for me. No, hell no. If you want to give that man the blame, give him the props. If they got the same daddy. Yeah, she looks like she might have two different daddies.
And it's like, what?
Around and hopefully, and lay up and give that heifer another child. Not with that attitude. No.
Because it's like, what mother is the other child getting? You know how you don't really parent all your children the same. So what mother is the other child getting? And he's just getting her evil side. I wonder how she is towards the other son. Because you have parents who are not in agreement with your dream. Yeah, Scam said, well, he wants to be in the music industry, and that may, sound like a pipe dream. But if you watch the whole video on YouTube, he talks about wanting to produce, and he had a track called 5 Blocks, and she was like, why you talking about 5 blocks? You ain't got no fire, you don't got no gun, you don't know about gangbanging. The only 5 blocks you travel is the 5 blocks of school. Well, what if he wanted to rap about them 5 blocks? What if he wanted to be expressive about them 5 blocks, and you as his mother don't support him? I understand being realistic with your children, but at the end of the day, you also have to be supportive of your children and be realistic with them as well.
There's no support there at all. There's no support. And to me, she acts like she really don't want to financially support it. And we know she doesn't emotionally support him at all by just the words she's saying. You
She said,
know,
I'm sick of
that's
him.
bad.
Imagine hearing that from your mother. Imagine your mother. Imagine hearing your mother say, "I'm sick of him. I hate him."
You know what end up? You know what end up the parents like that? They end up like the Menendez parents. And I don't know if you're old enough to know what happened to them. They're no longer with us.
Mm.
I had a question. He's probably of age to live with his father. He knows who his father is and where he was. He said he hugged him on Christmas. Why don't he go live with his father? And if this is a somewhat of a father, why would he leave him in that environment?
Who are you asking the question to? Anybody?
Just general. There's a man that exists somewhere who made it, who stuck his meat in there and created that monster.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's 13, 15, 17, whatever. He's there. He exists and you've seen him. You know where he's at. You know his name. Why don't you go get him?
Let me play with that a little. One, you see the attitude that can be very dramatic. Police call, going to jail, doing things that not really lend to the outcome that you described. She's probably the type that had children that she looked at that they were doll babies to her. She dressed them up and they were real cute until they started having their own voice and their own personality. And then all of a sudden she didn't want to deal with it. But now she's deep into it where there aren't too many. Her pride is really a significant detour to now. I can't say that that is the case, but I can say that you don't want to risk the fact of him losing both of his parents. He probably is open and willing to embrace, but the son, to your point earlier, Scan, is probably entitled and really spoiled because he don't want it. He don't want to be able to listen to no rules, just like his mother. So he doesn't have discipline. He doesn't have the tolerance, and his father's not tolerating that from the mother or the son. That's why they're together.
I disagree. Had friends who grew up spoiled. That wasn't spoiled energy.
Oh, hell no.
Nah.
I have friends who grew up spoiled as well in the hood, and that is exactly spoiled energy. It's the energy that it's the energy that they like, yo, whatever, because they don't want to go out and work because they got everything and they were given everything. And that's the spoiledness that I'm referring to. It looks like she gave him everything. He's very healthy, so he's eating.
Spoiled with that type of energy, though?
Absolutely. But she's gonna compensate all the things that she's not doing right. She's trying to compensate by giving them stuff.
I don't know.
What is she giving him? Besides hell?
I don't know. Even as a kid, no one wants that energy to the point where money doesn't matter, even as a child.
Well, this
Children are drawn to love.
That is true.
I've seen I've seen it very direct to where the kid is sitting there complaining, but he's acting just like the mother because the mother overcompensated with giving him things that he wanted. Like, for example, most of my robber friends, the reason why they became robbers is because they were spoiled all their lives, and then when the parents couldn't afford what they wanted, they went out and took it. They were and so their life of crime started. And I look at it from that standpoint that they were just spoiled and they didn't get their way. And when they couldn't get their way, they took their way. Now, him, on the other hand, you have the opposite side of it to when you don't get your way, you just sit and complain about it like he was seemingly doing in this video. So I like I said, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I've seen both of those devils.
Yeah, I just seen it as a different. I seen different type of energy. My friends who were spoiled, they couldn't do no wrong in their mama's eyes. It was more like a son husband type. A couple of them ended up robbing and whatever because they had no discipline. They thought they can do whatever they want, whatever, because they can always come home, and there was no standard, and the mom would always love them. But the ones in family, whatever, that grew up under that, like reckless chaos, it's just a level of hate that just keeps going on. There was no spoiling going on. That's just what I've seen.
And I hear you, but you just kind of described what the context of what I'm referring to, which is basically you have no consequence.
Yeah, I mean, to me, she looked like, she regret, not going to the and getting that morning after pill. She should have went to a clinic and got rid of him. That's the energy she gives off to me. She regrets. Yeah, she regrets having him.
That's somebody who doesn't want to be a parent.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Probably tells him when he's 18, she's gonna throw him in the street.
There's no way I can sit there and say that comes off as spoiled energy.
It's obviously that's not the case because she's praising another son. So it's not.
It's not spoiled energy.
Another son, but if because he's a good guy. If he was bad, she will be feeling the same way. I should never had kids. Period.
It's but not because good guy.
The question was, son. She feeling like, man, I wish I never had you. I wish you was never here. I wish I never slept with your father. I should have got rid of you when I had the opportunity, and he gave me that $150 to go down to the clinic. Instead, I chose to keep that money and buy a purse. And what I should have did was use the money for what it was intended for. That's the energy she gives off to me. Nowhere near spoiled. I understand, Sean.
I agree. I think that but the point that I'm making is not about the energy she's giving off. It's about where that energy came from. I don't think she was like that all the time. She just basically, I'm sorry, let me take that back. I think that she is controlling. And when she can't control it, she acts out. And that's to what she's creating. A young man who is going to be controlling. When he can't get his way, he's going to act like a spoiled little brat. And that's what I mean, the context of spoil I'm referring to.
I don't know. I don't know if that turns a little boy into a spoiled brat because his mom can't get his way. I think that turns a boy into someone that doesn't want to be around their mom. But I do want to get grooming and reviews 101 in here. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got a lot to say on this one. Let me give you a little backstory because you guys don't know me. I was in a serious relationship with a lady a little older than me. We were at 10 years difference. And she treated me like a child half the time. She couldn't stop being a mom. But she was very, very spoiled. Anytime she had a problem, she ran. When I mean run, she was out. Mm-hmm. Like, good example, she had 2 marriages before me. And she ran from that. She ran from her second one and she ran from me. Sometimes you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. The way she's acting on camera, to me, that seems like a spoiled little brat that she got her way and she's not getting her way this time. I'm sorry. I see how it is.
Right. Right. Because the communication between them two, she says, well, when you do this, of course I'm going to yell.
You don't have to yell.
Exactly. You don't have to yell, but she chooses to do that, which means she's going to try to get her way by any means necessary, knowing that that's not an effective way to communicate because you're not getting what you want. And then to put a cherry on top, she goes, you do this and you do that, and your dad did the same thing, and that's why you just like your dad. So it's only but so many times, and young children only have, like I said, children gravitate towards love, period. You don't have to have the most. You don't have to have $1 billion. You don't have to go on trips every, week. And like children gravitate to who hugs them, who loves them, who kisses on them, true. And who, affirms them. That's what children do, period. But if they're not getting that, they're going to turn the other way. They're going to turn the other way. And so for a woman, a mother to not know that her son is hurting, because this eventually causes hurt. Again, no child wants to be left asking the question, why doesn't my parent not love me or like me? They don't want to ask themselves that question. Now they may have to ask themselves that question, because that's a question you have to ask yourself. I believe everybody should ask themselves, do my parents like me? Do I like them? It's part of getting to know who you are and getting to know who your parents are in the adult life. Because you do what your parents say when you're younger, but as you get older, you have to go back and analyze and assess some things. But no one wants to sit with the harsh reality that my mother doesn't like me. And she has told me she hasn't liked me. And she expresses to me how she doesn't even believe in what I believe in or my dreams. And she tells me how much I'm like my father, who I haven't seen since however many Christmases ago. You continuously getting that type of tongue lashing, you're eventually going to be worn down. And so how do you then recover from that? Because you may look at women like, I can't do it with them. You may have this period of time where you're just like, don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't touch me. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to even act towards you, because the one I got at home is like a wild animal, and you just might be the same as well. So that's a young man. That's a young man. We're going to get into a clip where we have an older man that is going through hurt, pain, and his woman is not necessarily supportive, almost like the mother wasn't supportive of this son. Before I get to that, though, I do want to read some of these super chats. So the World Class says, so nobody hugged this boy his whole life. And it's ironic that you say that, the World Class, because I watched the whole clip, and at the end of the clip, Karamo made her commit to hugging her son. And after she hugged her son, he had the biggest smile on his face. He said, that felt good. It made me feel like she loved me. So they did end up getting a hug, but if that continued past that day, who knows? Because she has a lot to work out in her, and I don't think something like that happens overnight, but you do have to take that first step in practicing what you eventually want to see in your life. So Eugene still says he could be the man who causes pain to a submission woman, or he could end up with a woman who can emasculate him easily. So that his mom can either be the catalyst of the woman that come into his life, or the reason why he don't want to deal with a woman like that. SB says that seems logical, but since that's all he knows, he will subconsciously seek this type of woman out. He will run over a meek woman, unfortunately, in my opinion. So subconsciously, he might get with a woman like that, that's yelling at him, telling him what to do, and he just may keep her around, but still be out here in the streets. He could go that way. Who knows? SB says counseling. So yeah, he's definitely going to need, we're going to get into some things that can help men and everyone with their hurt, but counseling is an option that he can definitely undergo. SB says it didn't start with her. I bet this is generational. She probably doesn't know how to be a loving mother because she didn't have one. Yeah, or she didn't have a father to teach her how to respect men and children. Like, you just don't disrespect children because you don't like the person that you procreated with. That doesn't fly. So it's definitely a lot going on with her. Big Daddy G said that young man didn't say 10 words and she interrupted and flipped it all on him. No accountability. And what would curb that in my day was the church. Yes, child. That's what happened in my day too. Like, you gonna write this scripture 100 times because you done must lost your mind.
Oh, I thought the church was what they was calling a belt. I'm sorry.
Well, that was part of it too. Like, that was part of it too. All right. Welcome. How do you say your name? I
Oh,
can't
Jedi
see.
Mike.
Jetta Mike?
Mhm.
Oh, you never met Jedi Mike?
You haven't met me before?
I don't think so.
I've been
Welcome.
incognito
Oh, really?
because I got married, so in this
Okay.
space. But yeah,
Maybe we've been on a panel before. Maybe Lapeef. I think you look familiar, but I don't know if you've been here before. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
thanks for having
Um,
me.
and is there anything that you wanted to add towards this conversation before we move on?
Talking about men experiences through like pain and hurt in a relationship.
Well, in the first clip that we played, he actually experienced it through his mother. So his mother was very verbally abusive to him. Did you see that clip that we played?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we're talking about that clip, and then we're gonna move on to a further clip. So I just wanted to see if you had anything that you wanted to add before we move on.
Well, I mean, just with anybody, whether with men or children, you have to understand that that a lot of the relationships that we have with ourselves and our individual lives, we become a byproduct of that relationship we have with our mothers. Some women have a relationship with men based off the relationship they have with their father, and they don't know how to actually communicate effectively or understand, as a child, how to properly go through situations or, more importantly, conflict. Right. So we might get into a situation of either self-loathing or saying as us as men, well, we're always told we're worthless and we're not, need to be respected. So then when we get older, we don't respect ourselves. And then with that, around us, around other people, they get affected by that. So
Mhm.
I just think that's kind of very important to dictate that in a younger age.
Hmm. And I definitely agree. The examples and the role models are definitely necessary. However, in today's day and age, you're seeing less and less role models and less examples. And so now we have to go where they go.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it's to YouTube. So that's why we're having these conversations.
Mhm.
Alrighty. So we're gonna move on to the next clip because in this clip we have a couple, and we have the man experiencing hurt, and you can clearly see that I'm just gonna say that he's out of it. And she's not necessarily understanding. But I'm gonna play this clip and then we're gonna get into conversation on this one.
Will be to fight through. Sit up. You know we came all this way. Yeah. Our action will be to fight through. Sit up. Right. Sit tall. Stand firm with me. We came all this way to fix us. How are you gonna get sick when we're trying to fix us? Well, but it happens all the time.
He's confronting a lot of stuff that's probably pretty scary.
Yeah, we were going through a lot, and we both did.
Try. See, stop doing that. Just don't do what you usually do. Just let him be. Let him be a mess. Because this really is making him sick. That's where he goes. It's the only way he knows how to handle it. You go into, I'm gonna make everything happen, because that's where you go. A lot of times when we want to fix the other person and we want them to get it together is because I want you to get it together so my needs can get met. That's not selfish. That makes all the sense in the world.
That's not how I feel though. No.
Why do you want him to get it together right now?
I want him to get it together for him.
If you want it for him more than he wants it for him, he will continue to let you want it for him. Because to go, I think I might want to be better. That's a lot harder than going, she always wants me to be better. Then I get to fight you instead of fighting myself. As long as he can fight you, he's not gonna fight himself. So you want to get out of the ring and let him just deal with the man in the mirror. That's where the power is in somebody changing.
Before we go on to the second half of this clip, did you guys what did you guys think of it? Because like I said, you could clearly see that he's hurting and she just won't allow him to be a mess, right? A lot of times women want to fix things. What can I do? We the helpmates. What can I help you with? And what do you need? But we're doing that so much that we're not necessarily taking a step back and seeing how he naturally deals with what he's dealing with without our 2 cents, without us wanting to just step in and help because we feel like just because we're there, we have to do something. she's not allowing him to be a mess. Have you guys ever experienced a time in your life where you felt like it was spiraling and you just needed to be a mess and someone just couldn't understand that? Like I always say for people, like sometimes you gotta sit in your shit. Like, you know what I mean? I say that because sometimes you don't need the outside voices. You don't even need the voice of the person that you're with. You really have to just get yourself together, and that takes for you to block everyone and not listen to what everyone has to say. And I can only imagine, you know, as women, we do that, or we're supposed to do that, sit in silence. But I can only imagine a man having to do everything that you guys having to do, but still time or find time to just sit and be a mess. Do you guys ever get a chance to just be a mess?
Yeah, we do. Are we speaking on this video? Because this video is disturbing.
Yeah, we are. And it's a second half to it, so it kind of explains the first half. But yeah, but go ahead.
Buckle up.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm gonna stand by it. I'm gonna stand by and let it play out there. But as far as your question, can we ever be a mess? Yes, we just gotta communicate with our significant others and let them know, you know, hey, I'm going through it. And hopefully, you know, she's that type of person who's gonna be understanding, gonna give you that space. And you know, of course, her nature spirit's gonna ask, well, you know, what can I do to help you? Just give me some time. And express that, let it be known, I need some time. And when I'm ready to talk about it, we're gonna discuss it, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna laugh about it. We're gonna cry about it. We might even have to yell about it. But you know, give me some time so I can work through some stuff. And we're gonna table this, and we're gonna address it then. But right now, it's just not the time. I needed some time to, you know, get through my mental, you know, emotionally, and all these things I'm going through. I just need some time. And so, like I said, hopefully she respects him enough to give him that time and be patient with him and understand him. Don't try to rush him. Don't try to push him along. You know, just allow him to go through it. If it means it takes a couple of days, allow them 2 days to happen. You know, periodic check-in. Make sure he's good. Make sure everything's good. You know, if you need to, or ask him, are you ready to talk about it? And if he says yes, then, you know, allow him to talk. You just be a great listener. Don't try to get her to dominate the conversation, because it's not helping it. Allow him to express himself. Allow him to let him know what's going on and how you feeling. What was all the issues about? Let him do that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Hank. Anybody wants to go next? King?
Yeah. I recognize the way that she was holding his hand when they were on that couch. I recognize that hold. If you think about it and you juxtapose these images side by side, that's the same way that Derek Jackson was holding his soon-to-be ex-wife's hand when they were sitting on that couch. Now, I said this as a joke, right? But at the same time, it's true when you look at it. She had that hand clutched in, you know, which to me indicates like that dude is hurting. It's obvious. And to me, I see a lady that is trying to control the narrative and control the situation the same way that Derek Jackson was trying to control that narrative and that situation.
Yeah, like the therapist was saying, you know, don't do what you usually do, which means you probably say, sit up, get yourself together. We came all this way. And that's why men don't want to go to therapy, because it's like, I got to listen to her in the corner, or I got to get in the car and hear her say, you could at least did this while you was in there. You know, put on something that looked presentable. Don't be going in there with no sweatpants and a t-shirt and a hat.
Just handpicking them.
Right.
I'm trying to figure this out. King, are you saying she was the one cheating? And he caught the video of she getting pounded? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying she's controlling of the situation all the time and not giving this dude time enough to breathe.
You can tell by the body language that she's having. This
I know what you mean. I'm just bullshitting.
I got you. Yeah. I realized it after. I realized it after.
But it's very similar even with mothers with sons too, when they're trying to communicate and they're telling like man up or no, you're crying, whatever. it's like I'll be transparent. I had that type of relationship with my mother, like when I was growing up, because like I have both my parents in my life and everything. But my mother, especially she's like came from an abusive background, that she come very overprotective. And just as women, you want to protect the man that you're in a relationship with. That's just in your nature if you truly care about him. And even though I'm not questioning the woman's intention, we all know the road to hell is paved through good intentions. And even with just her body language, is that her reaction in terms of her being so uptight and again, holding his arm is causing him to respond with that, to be emotionally numb, right? Because he almost, just the way he was sitting in
It's
the
almost
chair,
like she was the anchor, like she was
like,
just holding him down.
and he just looked like he was almost just like, I'm not saying incapacitated. He just looked like he just not even present.
Lifeless.
And that's what a lot of I don't even want to put this on men too. I see a lot of women, be in the situations where they can be emotionally numb as well, right? Their experiences, right? And even then, when we're trying to have conversations, you can see she was also trying to talk to the counselor and tell her how to explain things, whatever, and say no, let him, no, I'm the therapist, let him talk. And then she's like, say, no, if this happened, blah, 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 blah. Again, she's trying to micromanage instead of actually taking that step back and control, because she, if she feels like she let go, then that's basically losing her sense of power.
Right. I totally agree. Grooming and reviews.
Yeah, oh man, it seems like she's poking and poking and poking and poking and poking. After a while, that poke is gonna become very bruising and hurtful, and you want to walk away and just decompress sometimes. It's, chill the F out.
Right.
And just relax and take a deep breath. Walk away from the situation. You go in your room or whatever you do, whatever your Zen place is. Let me go to my Zen place. Mine is my gaming. Let me game and take a drive and just think of it before start screaming, start saying things you don't mean, and who knows what else can happen.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, that woosah can do a lot.
Meditation goes a long way.
It does, but you gotta learn how to sit with yourself. That's a skill that a lot of people do not have.
Scam had a reaction to that meditation word.
Nah, I just think a lot more conversations need to be had. People respond to stimulus the way that they respond is usually based on what they've seen or what they felt, meaning most behavior is taught. If a woman is controlling, somewhere in her mind, somebody taught her that she was supposed to control, and that is some form of a right answer. Or some form of something that somebody else is doing is a wrong answer. So she's trying to control. Probably in her childhood, you'll find where someone controlled, or someone taught her that that's what you're supposed to do. Or there's some false expectation of what he's supposed to be doing, and this is the right answer. So it could be from controlling parents. They controlled her, and she turned out okay, so she thinks that's what you're supposed to do, be controlling. Just like kids who get beat. A lot of them just turn out violent and crazy. Let's be real. But some of them turn out and be okay, but where do they go? They go tell you, all right, anytime something's wrong, beat them. Beat them, throw them in prison and beat them some more. They think it's the right thing to do.
Right.
Like there's multiple different personalities. So there are things that could work, or at least a person thinks that they work, though they didn't. And then they think they're solving a problem, though they're making a problem worse. But with improper communication, a lot of people think, that's why I hate traditionalism. Because it was nothing but don't look left, don't look right. Everybody, your dad was a farmer, you get out there on the farm and you go farm. They didn't give you an opportunity to think outside the box and really solve problems. Anything of communication, asking why, is considered back talk. So nope, you in this box. Just like her telling this man, nope, you got to solve that problem like this. Get back in that box. We're going to go forward. But not taught to have a conversation. Listen, maybe this will work. Maybe that'll work. Maybe I'm the problem. They don't know. This could be what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you. Ikene just joined the panel. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm right here. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing well. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Was there anything that you wanted to add to the conversation before we move forward in the video?
Figure.
I would say you guys should move forward because, except if you want to explain it to me, maybe ask the question one more time, then I might be able to chip one or two things in.
Well,
What was the topic?
the last question that I asked was, when are men allowed to be a mess?
To be a man?
No, to be a mess.
To be a mess?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You see, no.
Over like this.
Oh, no, a man is not allowed to be a mess. A man is not allowed. The reason why is this, right? A man is not allowed to be a mess. The reason why is this, right? A man, no. You can do that maybe behind closed door, but not in public, because a man's word weighs a lot. A man's character weighs a lot. We live in a society or in a period of time where it's okay to show emotion. It's never okay for a man to show emotion in public. It's not. But we're told to do that. Because you know what? People want to see our weak side. We're told to cry when something is wrong. No, you're not supposed to. You know, let me tell you something, right? You cannot show weakness in front of danger. Am I correct? So
No.
why should you let danger know that you're weak? If you're not supposed to show weakness in front of danger, why should you let danger know that you're weak? To be a man is a very serious thing. You guys have to understand that. It's very serious to be a man. You see what I'm saying? It's not a joke. To society, to your family, to your community, it's not a joke. It's a very serious thing. Because you know what? Forget about the fact that we live in a time where a man will call 911 and police is there. A man is not supposed to call 911. You deal with the threat. You see what I'm saying? We're in a society where a man is going to have a flat tire on the highway and he calls a AAA to come and fix his car, to come and change his car. What kind of man is that? A pussy ass man?
Well, my dad always said, you either get you a
might
man
I-
who could pay for it or get you a man who could fix it.
Might I respond?
No. You can't be getting a man who can fix it. There are basic. You can get a man to build a house with you, or build a house. You pay him to build a house for you, because you can build 2-story. But one building, you can build that by yourself. You don't need a man to build that. You can do that by yourself by building 1 story. You can fix a tire.
He's proving my point.
There are things you should do as a man, because you're a man. You should do it, not hire a man to do something for you. And that's why we have all these men that are like little girls. Not even women. They are like little girls. They don't even act like women.
Well,
No,
is he showing
He
weakness?
just proved my whole point. He just did.
Is he showing weakness when he's beating the crap out of his wife? I didn't answer.
Only a fool beats the crap out of his wife. Why should he be beating a woman? You should be beating a fellow man. Why would you beat a woman?
You were advertising for it about a month ago. A couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
that's not what you said a month ago.
Yeah, that was what you were talking about.
Y'all not gonna
What
paint
did
my
I
boy in a
say?
bad light like that. I know better than that.
No, you can't say. I can never. Let me tell you something. Let me say this real quick, because you guys, you do not know what you're talking about. Ever since, I've never touched my hand on a woman before. But every single girl that I've been with respect me with utmost degree. And when I tell a woman to stay here, she stays here. You know why? Because masculinity is not by you being physical with a man. Masculinity is mental. You don't have to the day you put your hand on a woman is the day she loses respect for you. I'll let you know that. No woman respects a man that put her hands on her. No woman does that, because guess what? Because as soon as you put your hand on a woman, you've brought yourself down. You measure yourself to her. You're always going to make a woman live with the threat that something can happen. but don't execute a physical threat on a woman.
Y'all not gonna make my dog in a bad light.
I mean, to me, the only something that can happen is you leaving. You ain't gonna threaten me and be like, "I'm gonna punch you in your face." Like, nah.
What
I don't get
Chris, they trying to paint my dog in a bad light. They trying to paint my dog in a bad light.
This is what. Let me. Excuse me, guys. Let me say it again. Do not threaten a woman of physical harm. I said it few seconds ago. Let me say, do not threaten a woman of physical harm, but always make her feel the threat of something that will going to happen. A woman is more afraid of you leaving the house than you touching her. You see what I'm saying? A woman is more afraid of you never to talk to her again than you abusing her physically. There are mental stuff that scare women than physical touch. Physical contact, physical harassment, physical abuse makes a woman to disrespect you, but mental consequences is what a woman respects more. I didn't say mental abuse, I said mental consequences. You guys are lost in my vocabulary, I'm sorry.
Skim and Jedi Mike, what is up with y'all? What's going on? What's processing in y'all head?
And they trying
When Ethan is talking.
So
Y'all
the
so
threat is
need to
like
know.
this,
Tell
right?
the
Or is it like
classroom.
this?
Y'all so
How's the threat?
disrespectful.
Is it like this or is it like this, Ikene?
Amazing.
All right, we gonna keep it moving. Y'all must have some inside jokes that I'm
No.
not.
It's always scam is always looking for me, man. Don't worry about scam, man.
No, Ikene, you prove one of my points.
No.
There's this fictional thing of stuffing people in boxes. You have to be this person right here. Oh, and he just did it. No, man.
I'm an African man. I'm assertive in everything that I do.
So you're saying you're perfect in everything you do in life, everything.
I'm assertive, and I'm not going to cry in front of a woman.
He said, no, he's perfect. He said he's assertive.
He said assertive.
I'm assertive, and I don't cry in front of a woman.
That's
No,
what he
that's
said.
the very form of the weakness.
No, I'm not going to do it.
You can't be this person because
But Scam, you got to talk about he's from a different country, man. You got to understand that too.
When my guy, I'm Nigerian. I'm an Igbo guy from Anambra State. So we are.
Make me speak my mother's tongue. I will do it.
But one thing that I got to tell you is this, right? When my dad passed away, and that's earlier this year, right? That tears came down, but I'm not going to open their mouths. That tears came down when women were there, but when my guys came around, right? That's when I let loose because they are men.
you're proving my point.
But I'm not going to be, oh, my dad died in front of women. No, I'm not going to do that.
Right, women are in charge. They decide what you can and can't do. When they're around, you gotta act accordingly. You're falling in line. I understand.
No, the thing is this, bro. Women.
Somebody told you that's who you have to be, versus thinking and saying, "Hey, I'm going to be the best that I can be.
Bro,
I'm going to react and manage my emotions according to my own standards."
Scam.
But I understand.
Scam, you sound like that pussy ass dude he talking about right now. You sound like that pussy ass dude.
Come here, Hank. Come here.
I'm gonna cut you guys off 1 second here.
Come here. You get to cutting that beard off.
Nothing to do with it.
If I may, as a Nigerian man myself, also Igbo as well, I understand what King is talking about, especially from our culture, especially when fathers are implementing that to their sons. I understand that, but one of my thing is that I feel that there had to be a difference between vulnerability and transparency. Right, my father always taught me. No, he's one of the biggest fans of The Godfather. One of the greatest lines of that movie is saying that women and children can afford to be foolish, but men cannot afford to be foolish because it costs too much. Right, every other factors going from women to children below. There's always someone covering them. Children are covered by women. Women are covered by men. Who's covering that man other than God? Right, which is why
you need.
That's all you need to go Lord, baby.
Well, you're absolutely right. But my point, what I'm saying is, No, you're absolutely right. But my point is saying that I think to Dustin's point, there got to be a difference between transparency and vulnerability. I think that to actually, to fully just, break down all of yourself to your woman, I'm not saying that's healthy, in a long-term sense, because again, women need to have that sense of structure, sense of safety around them, whether emotionally, saying, hey, listen, my man's covering me. If that foundation is broken, I'm going to feel like I'm in danger. But I think it's also important for men to actually be taught the basic definition of transparency. Learn how to effectively communicate to your woman what's going on. No one should be a liar. We're not, because men do not lie. But it's not saying that what come across with Kenya's point. I think what Dustin was kind of having a pushback. It's seeing like, I can't show nothing. And that means that you basically are hiding something from your woman. We're not telling men we should hide anything from our women. We're saying that we have a responsibility to hold structure and the strength in the family. But at the same time, we're also human beings. We have to be transparent what we're talking about, and people are people. So, and I think that what you saw, again, going back to the video, is that a man has been the rock and foundation for so long, but he can't take anymore because he has no outlet and no way how to communicate to that woman who's trying to micromanage everything. So that's where I think we're going back to that video. But
I don't think that's what MJ was saying. He said he don't cry in front of his woman. Now he said he cries in front of his guys because he's able to be free. That's what he said. Now I mean, look,
oppressed by women. That's what it means.
No, listen. Y'all all men know that sometimes you can't be emotional or vulnerable in front of women sometimes because they take it and use it as a weapon. We all know this. We've seen it.
You're proving my point.
I think that.
Go ahead, Sean. Then I'll explain what I was saying. Go ahead.
Gam is making, as well as the opposite viewpoint, are both irrelevant. There is no one way. And to the point that you made earlier, in reference to the Godfather, we make that reference, but we didn't see him cry in front of his woman, so it would lean more towards the point that the brother was speaking about. And so we can't conveniently mix and match the two. We can definitely, but it's when we're talking, we use talking points that mix and match the two. If you're going to use the reference point, let's use it all the way. The Godfather actually lends to his point of view, not to the point of view that you're making. He actually lends to the point of view of being strong in front of everywhere you go. And we don't have the room, to the point that you made. We don't have the room to get messy or to be, in what was the question originally? When is it our opportunity to be a mess? We don't have that opportunity if we're using the Godfather as a reference point, or we're using the African man as a reference point. That's the point that he's making. But to your points, it doesn't always have to be that way, and there could be some balance if we allow it. Like Hank said, there are times where we do need to take that time off, and meditation is what some people use, and other methods is what some people use. But the point is, they're taking the time off. But to the ultimate point, I relate to it. We have to be able to let go and let God is what it really boils down to. She's trying to change him, and she needs to allow him to let go and let God. I like the point of view of you need to be able to sit with yourself and box in the ring by yourself. I've had to learn that, actually, because I'm always seeing those points of views and my brothers, and I'm trying to lead the horse to the water. I'm trying to make the horse drink. I'm trying to make the horse drink, and you can only lead them to the water. You got to allow them to want to drink. And that's really the point of view that I think is being made collectively, but we're just arguing the points that lead up to that.
Yeah, it was kind of something a little different. It's more like you're saying you can't cry in front of your woman. It's like there's a false expectation of a man that outsiders made for you, versus you doing enough critical thinking and having enough confidence to say, I'm going to be this man, and this is how I'm going to operate. They may have influence and you may buy into it, but it's your decision how you move, not their decision. If it's their decision telling you what a man is, and based on you appearing weak in front of a woman, then you're already weak in front of a woman, because you have to be something that you're not when she's present. Versus you're going to be who you are, and she's your support staff anyway. So some real crisis is going on, and you have a breakdown. She's supposed to be there to support. Now you know what woman you got. But let's not act like women, like every man is this superhero who doesn't bleed. Let's not do that. Because to be honest, we can get on panels and I can see people breaking down every 15, 20 minutes just from a talking point. Then they talk about don't cry in front of a woman. But because a woman's going to come so scared of the woman, she's going to come ragdoll you. So you can't cry in front of her. That is weakness.
And Cam, to your point, and the point, we have to decide what type of man we want to be, because we sometimes want to act as if we're superhero, but we're not built for that.
That's what I'm talking about.
And you have to be true to that. You are not Don Corleone. You are not Shaka Zulu, but you want to present that as if you are. Now, if you are, then all of those attributes that we're talking about as far as not showing weakness, that is appropriate, because that's the type of man that you're living to be. But often, if you're living to be that man, you're not on social media right now with us. You're out there being that man. You ain't gonna see them being hit Shaka Zulu or sitting here having discussions on these panels.
I'm trolling Zulu. I'm different.
Well, but even to that topic of crying, you said that God.
I disagree with what's his name, Sean? I disagree with you. The reason why some of us on social media today is because we want to impact the society. There are many men out there that are like Shaka Zulu. You see what I'm saying? They come from backgrounds where men are taught not to cry, and that is instilled in them. Some men are born in a background where they are taught to cry. Not all of us are raised like that. So I'm not going to give what I don't have. I'm not taught to cry in front of women. That's what I don't have. Some men are taught to cry in front of women. That's what they have. But this space, the reason why I support even Shaka Zulu to come on YouTube is that it's the easiest way to reach the black man that we can't reach in person. The white man that we can't reach in person. The Arab man that we can't reach in person. To teach them how to become men, YouTube is that avenue. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are destroyed today. So let me put it this way. A lot of people were destroyed before 2020 COVID, right? Because there was no way people could reach them. But since Kevin Samuel blew up in 2020, so now a lot of men have been saved. You see? A lot of men have been saved because of that. Because Kevin Samuel came on internet and told men, there is nothing bad with you being masculine, because men were shamed for it. You see what I'm saying? Men were shamed for it. But now those men have discovered themselves.
Kevin Samuels is not God.
I hear what you're saying.
He's not.
But the problem, and this is what is where the pushback comes from. Because you are only Shaka Zulu and or Don Corleone temporarily. You're not that all the time. And they were that all the time. So you are not the same. You just are thinking you are the same. You are not sitting here. You are not sitting here running a underworld empire or running a tribe. You are sitting here talking about things that you want to talk about. They were not doing that. And we got to stop acting like we are them, because we're not doing that 24 hours a day. Just like if we were basketball, the equivalent to Shaka Zulu and Don Corleone or Michael Jordan.
What you just saying right now does not correlate to what a strong man means. Strong men, the strongest men on earth were never kings. Shaka Zulu was a strong man, but the strongest man in South Africa was not Shaka Zulu. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't the strongest man, but he was a strong man known to the whole of the world because he was a king. Remember, let me say this real quick. Agamemnon was the king of Greece, but he wasn't the strongest man in Greece. Achilles was the strongest man in Greece, right? During those days. Achilles was the strongest man in Greece, but Achilles wasn't a king. But Agamemnon was the king. You see what I'm saying? Even though Agamemnon told Achilles that history don't remember warriors, history only remember kings. But who did history remember? Achilles, not Amagmemedon. You see what I'm saying? So you can be a strong man, but never a king. But what I'm going to tell you is this. Don't stop being a strong man because you're not a king. Because what you're telling those young folks out there is that their masculinity don't matter if they're not kings. No, that is bad. You shouldn't show masculinity only when you're a king. You should show masculinity because guess what? The protection, the security of your family is in your hands. So don't be.
And
you ain't got to trade under these soft ass pussy dudes. You ain't got to explain yourself.
With debate,
they don't understand a man.
With
They don't, and I'm very, very ashamed of that. I'm very, very ashamed of that.
Look here, some of you guys ain't been outside, so y'all sit there and talk about and get on this man. Talk about like women don't use your over emotional ass self against you. She will. You can look. A man could go through some shit every day. He could cry every goddamn thing. Do you think your woman really want to see all that? Do you think your woman really want to see you crying every day?
Hey, you missed the point.
If I'm a lesbian, because I feel like I'm marrying a goddamn bitch.
Hey, you missed the point.
So yes, there's gonna be some times you just got to man the fuck up. That means stand on your goddamn square, stand up to pee, don't sit down to pee, and act like a goddamn woman. He's not saying he can't cry. He's not saying that. But what he's saying is he doesn't want to cry in front of his woman because men like that doing it all the time. That's a problem.
Hey, you missed the part of what he was saying.
Woman will take advantage of that. She will horn it on it, and she will use that shit against you if you don't have the right type of woman. 90% of these women are not the right type of woman.
They are BT 1000. They will not stop until you are dead.
I agree with this completely.
No, that's what you said about 90% not being the right type of woman. You're correct about that. Why are people dating 90%? But if you're talking about marrying and being in a long-term relationship, and you have a breakdown because your mom got smoked in a parking lot, and what kind of woman are you dealing with? Your mom got hit by a truck, and you break down. You soft-ass nigga. What kind of woman is doing that?
A different situation.
Put that woman to the streets immediately.
Look, he's not talking about. He may feel like the need to unload because he's having a stressful day. To the point it's just overwhelmed, give him headaches, and he just want to cry. And he feel like that's not a good enough reason really to cry for a woman. We look her.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm talking about what he was saying.
Damn, again, I'm gonna say it again. A man could go through some shit every day, feel like he need to cry. He just got pulled over by the police. Accuse a man of speed. Probably doing speed over 5 miles, but the police pulled him over. You know how frustrating and upsetting that is? You feel like you're being targeted or taken advantage of? No, nobody may go there. But shit, we have to deal with shit like that.
Hey,
we go to the store, we look at shit, and it's not right.
This perfect. It's like he was saying, a man can't even stop and change it. Men are soft because they're using AAA to change the damn tires. That's what I'm talking about. The unrealistic, fake expectations of a man. You got to be a superhero. Because I'm they were in 1922.
Let me say this,
That's what I was pushing back.
There's a lot of men who don't even know what a tire iron looks like. Has no idea.
Yeah.
You soft motherfuckers.
I'm calling
Seriously, I remember our gym teacher used to teach us how to do that. He used to take the girls out too. Like y'all need to learn this.
I'm not changing my own damn tire. It's made for AAA.
You know why I said that? I'm a goddamn man who don't mind getting my fucking hands dirty. Some of you prissy motherfuckers who scared of getting wipe their own goddamn ass. Probably still call your mom. Mama, can you come on wipe my ass?
Most of the dudes can't lift the tire and they fat and overweight. What are you talking about?
Even the fat dudes
I choose not to do it. I don't keep a tire on in my trunk.
Or with debate.
I'm saying it's a fake expectation of a man.
That's the only thing with debating is what is the definition of masculinity, and we have two different views on it. And the point is, but with both men. So why are we sitting there debating about how you express your masculinity?
No, this is what he's telling you. He said y'all not men. He called y'all pussies. Y'all not hear what the man said? He called y'all pussies. You're not a man if you got a pussy.
Well, overweight men talking about
masculinity. Let me ask you a question. So if I cry from my woman who backs me up, I vent to her, makes me a bitch.
Huh?
Wait, venting?
No, I don't think so because what
He said
about when
He said
you
the
have
V word.
situations where what if you're I don't
Hey,
want to
hey,
put
Precious,
nothing on anybody, but what if
Precious,
someone in your family passed away? What if
Precious, the second part of the video goes right
it does
into
explain?
that.
You know what? Let's get it. Let's get
Yeah,
it. Let's
it
get
goes
the
right into
video.
that. That's what I'm trying to get to.
And here
Let's
comes
get to
me.
the part. All right. All righty.
What would you
Wait.
say has been an hard event for you?
My son took his last breath in my arm. Then my mom passed not even a month after that. Every day before work, I would call her and she would talk to me. Losing my mama to me, it broke all the stability that I had standing on. Some days, the pain be so bad, it's so unbearable to feel. I just feel like I don't want to be here. It's not so much as I want to do something to my soul.
But if you don't want to be here, what is that?
What I'm hearing you say, you just want the pain to go away. It's not that you want to end your life in any way.
No.
We're going to put a word to what you're experiencing, and the word is depression. We can't take depression lightly. It's more than sadness. It feels like a pit of darkness.
It's hard to accept it, you know.
I feel like
It's hard to even express.
Man, look at her.
I just need to breathe.
What the hell?
Right there. Right there is exactly what I'm goddamn talking about. She's one of them goddamn 90%. He
He
was
needs
dead
to
wrong
over.
for that. She
Hank,
took advantage of that. To the
Hank,
point
he
she
needs to over that woman to the streets immediately, and you know it.
I'm not trying to hear your bullshit. She's ready to walk away from her.
You proving my point, Hank.
Right now. That therapist that said he's depressed. You know what this ever tried to do?
Her sugar was low.
She ain't trying to support him.
Hank, you're proving my point.
Nah,
If you can't be vulnerable with the woman, get her ass out of there and get somebody who you can.
I agree with that. Hang on a second. I'll tell you a backstory of this. When my mother was diagnosed with cancer, I had nobody to support me. I was crying by myself. If I had somebody just to give me a hug, says, "Yo, everything be fine," that'd be better. When her cancer came back, I had my woman. She held me, and I needed that more than anything. So
Thank you.
That's what I.
She's a 10% woman.
I don't care anything you say. I'm what?
You cut your beard.
I'm talking about Spam. He's a pussy.
I got a better beard than you, buddy.
For you, Chip, trim that beard up.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about pussy ass Scam.
All right.
Check that cholesterol.
I'm gonna cut your hair just like mine with a
Settle
brick.
down, guys. Settle down.
Scam is as feminine as they come.
No, we're just
Scam is
dusting.
as feminine as they come.
Sorry,
Man.
No, we're just dusting.
He's the only one on this panel got a beard.
So, all right.
That's
So we
fine.
saw the rest of that video, and we saw that man had gone through losing his son in his arms and losing his mother. I think he said a couple months later. And so you have a woman that is trying to tell a man how to sit up. You have a woman that's saying, well, when I need something, this is the time that you get sick. I can't believe she said that. I can't believe she said like this man was going to be able to choose when he went through grief. Like he was going to be able to choose when death was going to be knocking on his family member's door. And she had the nerve to say, well, you choose to get sick when, you know, we're supposed to be getting better and when I need you. And like the therapist said, is you want him to get better so he can meet your needs. But what about his needs? And grieving, like, okay, the majority of y'all said men don't really get an opportunity to be a mess, right? Y'all carry a lot. You have a lot on your shoulders. You have a lot of responsibilities. You're loyal. You're dedicated to the plan. You don't really have time to be a mess. But what about when what about when shit just keep dropping? Like what about
Everybody
when
has a
mess
breaking point.
continues to show up at your door, right? You don't want to be with someone who was saying, well, why'd you choose to get sick now? And you're not there for me. And he's telling what he has to say. And she looking like she about to pass out, you know, and now it's going to be all about her, because what about my needs? Right. So I wanted to play that video and then circle back and come back to the very first video that I played, because now we're going to talk about hurt and pain, because emotional pain activates the same regions in your brain that physical pain activates. So being emotionally hurt activates the same area in your brain as if you stubbed your toe or if you hit a wall or whatever the case may be. However, it's processed differently because of the either the short or the long term effects that it can have on us. So I'm going to go back to that very first video, and then we're going to get into this and then close out.
With, being honest with each other.
All right. So, Jack, can you give us some practical principles on how, like for us single women, because I'm still single, right? On how not to ruin an opportunity because we have baggage or insecurities or issues that we are bringing from other situationships. I'm not even going to call them relationships because they're not. They're situationships.
You got to do the work. And what I mean by doing the work is doing the work to heal some of the things that you've actually been carrying along all of your life. You know, in terms of men, most men are afraid to admit how much we need women in our lives to compensate for the lack of love that we actually have for ourselves.
I'm going to stop it right there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because he said that men are afraid to admit how much they need women for the lack of love that they have for themselves. Can anyone agree or disagree?
I agree 100%.
With that statement?
I
Okay.
agree, but it's dangerous.
Okay,
If you're lacking love
expand
for-
on that.
Yeah, if you're lacking love for yourself and you go into this heartless market and you get those 90% women, you're going to get ragdolled. Or you're not going to have enough confidence to be able to attract the one that's in the 10% that actually would support you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, I can say it to like with my wife. Like, I mean, that said, I didn't have like lack of love for myself, but like there was times where I was going through depression, and like I had had like a self deletion attempt like years ago and stuff like that, right? And but now in my life, like where she able to act like aid in that is that level of peace and in terms of loving on me and caring for me in the ways that I need it, right? But oh, that wasn't me, y'all. But with that, I do believe that men need women, women need men. There's certain things that I feel that we have to have a balance. That's what's really beautiful in terms of of relationships and also just with society. It's just, again, it's like when we're having this back and forth with that saying that we don't need each other is absolutely not true. We need women to actually, in terms of spreading the culture, in our families and our homes, right? As men being sent the foundation and the structure of the home so make it be stable and so it can prosper. And without the other, then you basically are kind of playing, almost like your hands tied behind your back and stuff and trying to go on this walk of life. That's we need each other. It's plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100% because you need both of us. Like, I'm single right now. Like, I miss having a woman around. I miss having that loving, the caring, all that stuff. And I miss having my partner to back me up when I'm having a situation. I just need a vent to talk to somebody and she's there for me. Or is something going around, like my mother, great example, has cancer. I'm over my head. I'm not gonna lie. I am drowning. And if I had somebody just back me up saying, you got this, I'll be 100% better.
I don't need no doggone woman because I'm just a bachelor.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Now, seriously, yeah, we balance. A woman is here to bring balance to a man. A man is here to bring balance to a woman. And we do need each other for that balance. Otherwise, we will find ourselves like Don Corleone and Shaka Zulu, and we'll find ourselves not being able to you will be off balance. We'll be one way or another. And often when we are one way or another, we can be successful. We can be prideful. We can be a lot of things, but balance is what we usually are not.
See, it was the same my grandma told me. She met King Constantino III, the last king of Greece. I'm originally Greek.
Okay.
He said the man might be the head of the head, but the woman's the neck, and it helps support the head.
And I agree with that, but I just got to ask you. You say you're originally Greece. What are you now?
Where I'm now, I'm United States.
Oh, okay, I got you now.
I gotta say something to you guys. I gotta say this, okay? A man is not one who is a fool. A man knows his breaking point. Masculine men attract women. Masculine men are not usually single. They usually have women around.
Woman, feed me.
And the reason why masculine men always have women around is because women believe in masculinity.
Come here, goddammit.
And I will tell you one thing. When you think that masculine men are those that scare women off, you don't know what you're talking about. And also, when you think that masculine men are the ones that don't understand nature, number two, you don't know what you're talking about. Because I got to tell you something. I think that guy, he's talking in the background. So, okay. So, what you got to understand is this. Women love men that can protect them. Women love men that don't show emotions. But they will ask you to show emotions. But as soon as you start showing emotions, they're gone.
No way.
They won't be around. Except a woman that enjoys emasculating you as a man will stick around. Because guess what? She don't want a man that will tell her what to do. There are women like that. There are women out there that love emasculated men because they don't want anyone above them. So what I'm trying to tell you is this, and what I'm going to keep saying is this. A man is supposed to always, at all times, be in charge of his family, which means when there is danger, you show composure. You don't lose your cool. Not when there is danger, you start crying. You start panicking. You don't do that in the face of danger. No, you show composure. You maintain composure. You maintain calm. No matter what it is. A police officer pulls you over in the morning. In the afternoon, you lose somebody, your best friend. In the evening, your wife is yelling at your face. You still don't lose composure. That doesn't mean you don't have emotions. And a masculine man is one that puts things in place, which means if somebody is going to trade on your emotions, you put that person in check. A masculine man will put you in check. He's not going to be an ass or maybe accept you trading on him because he doesn't show emotions. No, that means you have never done with a masculine man before. A masculine man will deal with a fellow man and destroy you in a heartbeat. Don't test him. He will destroy you, but that doesn't mean he's going to put his hands on a woman. No, that's a total different discussion. Because one thing that men do think is this: will be because you don't show emotion means that you don't have emotions. No, you do have emotions. You don't have to show it. That's why they say maintain it. Compose yourself. You want to cry doesn't mean you should go around crying as a man. No. You excuse yourself. You go cry and come back.
All right.
When a man is happy, it's like this. When a man is sad, it's like this. When a man has a lot to celebrate, it's like that. You don't show weakness in face of danger or whatever it is.
So you not showing weakness means that you're not weak? Because if you're going ahead and you're being weak, but you're not showing it, you're still weak. So what are you saying?
You can't tell it's not weakness. What I'm saying is that you don't show weakness, but that doesn't mean you don't have emotions. Two different things.
I hear what you're saying, and I said that purposely because it makes no sense to me, because you are weak is if you're going ahead and you're crying.
Every
you're weak.
human being has a breaking point.
Let me finish. But the point that you're making is what you said, showing composure is how you worded it, and what Scam Likely them said was discipline, and that's the same thing, or they can be synonymous. And I agree with you. We need to have composure, and I agree with Scam. We need to have discipline. How we display that and where we display that and when we display that is what we're debating. And that's why I said it really makes no sense, because if you have it and you're just saying don't display it in front of somebody, I can agree with that if that's what you feel. But I can also agree with somebody who might show it, but they still, it doesn't negate their manhood because of their choice on how and when they want to show this weakness that they both have. And so I'm saying, why are we arguing over how and when you show it? Because that's just a preference. If you're strong, you're strong. If you can have that composure, if you have that discipline, you have it. Whether you show it to certain people or not, that's your preference. But don't don't say, oh, he a pussy or he a bitch, because they don't show it the way you show it. Because I know killers who will cry, and I know criers who will kill.
Yeah, I was arguing the fact of this. It's saying that a superhero masculine man controlling emotions. And at the end of the day, you're running around in fear because there's a woman sitting in the living room and you can't cry because she's going to emasculate me and walk out. That's weak. That's what I'm talking about. Her job is to be your support staff. That's her job. That's what you picked her for. Did you pick a 10% woman or a 90? Did you pick the 10? Or whatever you pick, you're going to find out, because one day something is going to happen. It could be your lung. Your meat can freaking stop working. You can get fat. Well, it looks like somebody already got it covered.
Or rebuke.
Or whatever it is. Somebody get hit by a truck. But you're going to be tested. But the fact that you got to act like something you're not because of a woman, that's showing your weakness right there. So the very weakness you hide, and you're actually showing it. That's what I'm talking about. And just like the Grooming in Review said, he went through a time of crisis and his woman was right there for him. And he's looking for that again. That I understand. It doesn't mean you have to be weak or go through something. But he knows that if he does, somebody's going to be there for him. That's what most people want. And Hank, we were actually agreeing. 10% woman is what the people are looking for. Am I correct? The one who will actually be there and is not looking for a shot to emasculate a man. If she does, you Uber to the streets immediately, because that's the wrong woman. Don't nobody want that. That's all I was saying.
I agree 100%, because if I cannot let myself go, meaning I can literally break down, be a mess, whatever, I don't care, just to be around my woman saying, listen, I just need a day just to be a bum, or whatever the case is, or break down, cry, talk, yell, scream, whatever the case is. You need to be there to support me at my moment of weakness, if you want to call it. But I don't call it weakness. I call it being a man and being in a relationship and being happy if I can break down. Because after I'm done crying, I'm cracking a beer and laughing about it.
Hey, look here. Let me again. Y'all did not hear the man what he said, because y'all making it sound like he said y'all can't cry at all. That's not what he's saying.
I know he didn't say that.
Hold on, listen. I'm talking about Sean and Dusto. He's saying don't do it in front of your woman. That's what he's saying. Again, let me tell you this. We all know you could go 5 years before anything can happen that will cause you so emotional. By then, you will already be married. What are you going to do then? You going to Uber back to the streets? No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're going to Uber your wife back to the streets.
If I can't count on this woman during the time,
Are you going to Uber your wife back to the streets? Yes or no?
yes.
And that's on you. Then you show how weak you are because you're not willing to fight for your marriage. To everybody else,
You didn't fight for me.
you
It's
answer my
her
question.
job.
I'm done with you. You answer my question. I'm done with you. I'm moving on to the rest. Again, we all know there's going to be some situations. It may not show where you have to be vulnerable. You could go into the relationship, get married, and you might have 2 days after you marry, you have a loss of your family. You have a situation where it caused you to be overly emotional, overwhelmed because you having thoughts about, you and your grandfather. I had a moment and you missed him and you started crying. And then all of a sudden she look at you, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying like this? You know what I'm saying? So again, we got to stop acting like some of these ladies don't see that as weakness. We got to act like some of these ladies are not going to be the one to go console you and hug you. Some of them don't do that.
Well,
Some,
Hank,
We
I'm not
don't want
asking.
those women.
I'm not done.
not-
I'm not done. I didn't
Go ahead.
interrupt y'all. Just can I get the same respect? I appreciate that. Thank you, fellas.
Go
So
ahead.
we can't act like some of these dudes these women don't do that, because they do. So now your best bet, hopefully, you're able to go through something in the midst of you dating and you're vetting this woman. So you can see if she handles it, how she handles it, if she accepts you when you do have a vulnerable moment, or does she turn her back on you?
Fair.
Or does she's the type of person, hold on, I'm almost done. Or she the type of person who's only going to give you a day or two, then by next week, you better have your shit together and stop all this goddamn crying. Is she going to be the one who's going to go with you to therapy? Now, according to the video, my first thing first, there's no way I would have went to a female therapist. Not as a man. There is no way I would have did that. Because as a man, I want to go to a man therapist because I know he's holding me to a different type of standards and accountabilities. He's not going to just play off my emotions. He's going to tell me what I need to hear, and he's going to enforce me and encourage me to apply it. I know if I go to a woman, I could play off her emotions. I could play off sympathy. Just saying, it's my opinion.
Hank, I'm going to respectfully disagree because I see a therapist and she's a woman. She has helped me so much. And she's not playing my emotions. She told me straight up. She looked at me like, stop being a fucking bitch. She literally looked at me and said that to me. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't remember the situation. It's been a couple of weeks when that happened. But she was very straightforward with me. I don't care if you're a woman or man. If you're a therapist and you can help me and fix this what's craziness in my head, there's a lot of craziness up there. Trust me. It's good.
Well, they can't fix it. They can't fix it.
Hey, thanks.
Okay, they can't fix it. I'm just letting you know. I can't fix it.
Hey, Hank, I agree with most of what you're saying. All I'm saying is, for me, it may be a deal breaker. If it's a time of crisis and the woman can't be there for me, like actual full out breakdown crisis, and she can't be there for me, it's going to be a major problem.
Yeah.
If it's something small and I can deal with it myself, but there can be something that can happen that emotionally, whatever, I can't deal with, and I need her support. If she can't be there, it's going to be a major problem. I'll never be able to look at her the same. It might actually cause all the way to the divorce. That's just me. You may be different.
And to the point that I was making, Hank, I don't care how you express it, but you said we got to stop acting like there's women out here. No, we got to stop acting like men can't be men. And men, part of being a man is being able to dictate that vulnerability and say, yo, I'm vulnerable, and have them deal with it. Don't run, as Scam said, don't run behind the closed doors and be in fear of the fact of how she's going to react and how she's going to use your vulnerability against you. Be a man and be able to face, if she uses it against you, what do you do from that point? You don't run and hide it from her. You go ahead and you deal with it as a man. So whether it's, and like I said, I don't care if you don't cry in front of your woman. I can understand that. I can agree with that. I'm just saying, to Scam's point, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, don't act like you're so tough. Either you are tough or you're not tough. And if you're letting your woman dictate what toughness is, that's the problem.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, see, what the problem is, y'all allow women to dictate how y'all react and respond. No.
No.
A woman,
We're going to them for support. Ask them to do the job.
It doesn't move me. A woman doesn't move. Pussy doesn't move me. None of that.
It's not what we're saying.
I know what y'all said. I can hear. Scam, I got you. But I'm going to tell you again. A woman doesn't dictate how I move. I move how I want to move as a man. A woman doesn't tell me how to move. What she says to do doesn't move me like that. That's not how I roll. Now, they may move you because you're trying to get a shot of booty. This so be it.
That's not what we're saying. Not even close.
No.
You're off.
I got you, Scam. I got you, buddy. But y'all determine on how a woman acts and how she moves. You take it just because I don't want to share. No, I just don't want to. I wouldn't do that because I know how some women are. Now, again, I'm not going to sit there and say that you are showing no emotions. Of course, I'm going to show emotions. I'm going to show how I love. But maybe I choose not to cry in front of them. Because guess what? If something's going on, somebody got to be the rock. Everybody in the whole house can't be quiet. Somebody got to be the one consoling, hugging them out, tell them it's going to be okay. Everybody can't be all full of tears. Somebody's got to be that dude. Say, okay, guys, I know it looks bad right now. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through it together. Somebody got to be that. And if everybody in the house crying, that's a problem.
That
All
wasn't
right.
what we're saying. We're saying during a time of breakdown as a man, if you have breakdown, you don't get to choose how things play out in life. Everything you don't. You don't get to choose your breaking point either. You can be as strong as you possibly can be. During that time, there's nothing wrong with asking for help from the person whose job it is to be that actual help, which is the spouse. And that's what a lot of people are marrying for. Now, if you got a woman you can't trust or can't count on, what did you marry her for? If you're this superhero, what you need the woman for anyway?
See, if I'm going to my woman, I
I
want to
understand the part. I do understand what you're saying about not wanting to take the risk or whatever, or thinking that some woman could. All you can control is what you control, but you decided to choose this woman. So you might as well go ask for help when you're at your break. Actually, you don't got no choice anyway.
First of all, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. That has nothing to do with this. We're talking about crying. Crying and asking for help is two
It
different
might
things.
not be a choice, bro.
Hink,
It might not be a
Scam,
choice.
Hink. Scam knows what you're talking about. He's just driving you to the extreme to get something that.
No, this is
I don't
reality.
understand. Scam. This guy never said anything about not seeking help. Hink never said that. What we've been discussing for the past 1 hour is about not crying in front of, not showing emotional outbursts in terms of tears.
I give up. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, you don't do that, because the thing is this: the reason why you don't want to do stuff. I got you, but we are all grown men in our 40s and 50s. The reason why you don't do that is because result over and over and over again has proven that women don't like men that show emotions.
That's a damn lie.
What? But guess what? If you show emotions once a year because your best friend died, or you remember when you used to have good time with your grandpa or your father, and then you remember those things, and then it was a sudden emotion, because they do happen, right? Everybody got that. But not just crying because you feel certain way. Come on, man. What
That's
does
not what
that
we're talking
tell?
about. I'm talking about crisis, like for real deal crisis. I'm not talking about.
No, I'm not gonna be hell no,
I'm
with my mouth wide open, crying like no. Come on, man. I wouldn't do that.
not
Come
talking
on,
about
I'm not.
somebody
I think
stole
you're
your parking space. Come on.
All right, we're gonna move forward with the video.
Actually, I got to drop. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks for being here, Scam.
Yeah, actually, I gotta go too, y'all.
I don't cry too much, okay? Scam, don't cry, okay?
His ass gonna cry in the car. He gonna cry in the car.
Hey, give me y'all's girlfriend's phone numbers. I need to cry on somebody's shoulder today.
Yeah, you're looking for something else, man. I'm not giving you
Y'all have a
that.
good one.
All right, I gotta go.
All right, Scam. All right, Jedi Mike.
Peace.
All right, so we're gonna keep going with the video. If we got to drop. If you want to come up, come up. But we're gonna keep going with the second half, and then we're just gonna get into hurt and what hurt means and how people don't deal with it, what they're not dealing with and why they are hurt. So we're gonna finish this video. Where is it?
We carry around so many things that we are hurt by, and if you ask any man this question, who hurt you? I promise you that he will open up and he will tell you some of the things that you may not like what he says. You may not like the fact that he talks about how his uncle punched him in his chest and didn't say anything and just walked away. You might not like the fact that he talked about the molestation or some of the things that he's gone through in terms of police brutality, all the things. But the thing is we are hurt and we're carrying around some of these baggage. And I think that oftentimes, if you just channel that energy into the right direction by saying, you know what, here is who I am, here is what I have, and here is some of the work that I need to do with myself before I come into a relationship, because if I bring this into the relationship, it's just going to trickle into something that is not healthy.
That's good. All right. So ultimately, they talked about doing the work. and they talked about they elaborated on what I usually say at the end of my shows, right? Be real with yourself so you can be real with others. And being real with yourself means that I have to sit with myself to really understand why my actions are the way that they are, why I don't talk to a certain person when they try to talk to me and I want to talk to them, but I can't get the words out. Why I'm frustrated when a certain person, you're sitting with yourself trying to understand yourself. And so when we get to hurt feelings, a lot of times we're at hurt. We get to hurt because we haven't managed anger. We haven't managed sadness. We haven't managed shame, guilt, or anxiety. So now we're hurt because we haven't really dealt with shame. Now we're hurt because we really haven't dealt with sadness and anxiety. That boy and his mother, he's going to be dealing with anger, right? His mother continued to give him that lashing, that verbal lashing. His mother continued to, not hug him. His mother continued to say, "You just like your daddy." She continues to do that. He's going to build up anger because he's not going to feel seen. He's not going to feel heard. Now he's going to have to learn love. He's going to have to get nurture elsewhere, and God knows where he's going to turn for that. But that could be the result of having a mother who is verbally abusive. And so these things and actually in that video, if you guys watch the whole thing, Karamo is telling his mother, "You're hurting him." And she's like, "I'm not hurting him. That don't hurt him. The words that I say don't hurt him." So in her mind, she don't think that she's hurting this young boy. But for him to say, "I don't like my mom. I don't love my mom. We don't give each other hugs. She don't listen to me. She doesn't take interest in any of my desires." That's going to build anger, resentment, maybe sadness, all of that. So when you don't deal with those things, then it turns to hurt because again, emotional pain activates the same area in your brain that physical pain activates. And so when you hurt yourself physically, you're going to the doctor, you're going to the hospital, you may be doing self remedies, you're trying to ease that pain as soon as you can. And sometimes it gets to an extreme where it's past what you can do for yourself. Right? So I want to get into just shortly and briefly how feelings show up mentally and physically, right? Because mentally, they show up in being overwhelmed, feeling helpless, feeling hopeless, feeling guilty without a reason. Has anybody ever felt guilty without a reason? Worrying excessively, difficulty concentrating or remembering, becoming hostile and irritable, this difficulty keeping up with daily tasks and withdrawing socially. So you know that you're hurting mentally when you can't keep up with your tasks, you're becoming hostile, irritable, and your attitude and moods are just changing. And as a man, knowing that you're usually on your square, usually doing what you have to do, that is something that you have to be aware of, not only for you, but with the person that you're with. So if you know that those things are going on within you, that's where you have to be honest and say, okay, mentally, right now, I'm hurt, and mentally, I'm not here. I'm not here. I really can't do it. And I just want to be honest if you're with somebody. But if you're with yourself and you know that you're becoming overwhelmed and it's hard to concentrate, you can't remember, you're becoming hostile, you're feeling guilty with like you have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What happened to me over the last week? What happened to me over the last year? Or what happened to me in the past that I haven't really dealt with? I keep sweeping it under the rug and I really haven't dealt with it. And then physically, they say headaches, new explained pain. Y'all ever lay down and wake up and be like, why am I hurting? Because a lot of times when you're keeping hurt and pain inside, it does come on the outside. You do start experiencing pain. You do start experiencing aching because you're not talking about it. You're not getting it out. So now your body is telling you, you need to do something about this because we're not feeling good inside here. and you're not doing anything to make us feel good. You're not doing anything to make yourself feel good, any self-soothing in a positive manner. You drinking and we tied every weekend. All right. You got us locked up in here. The liver ain't doing too good. Your body will start to deteriorate. Your body will start to break down when you're not emotionally well. You become fatigued. You're sleeping too much or sleeping too little. You're relying on mood altering substances like alcohol or drugs. So I wanted to ask you guys, it don't have to be a romantic relationship, but can you name a time where you've been hurt and how it manifested in negative mental and physical ways? Because I think Grooming and Review said 101 said it. We've all been hurt. We're all gonna get hurt. I think you said it. Somebody said it. We've all been hurt. So has there ever been a time where it's like, I knew I could have handled that a lot better, but because I was hurt, this is how I handled it?
Yeah, I'll start and I'll try and be brief. I've said on your channel or on this Monday Mixed Messages Men's panel that towards the end of my 14-year marriage, I was depressed and didn't know it. We both had a cycle of hurting each other as we were trying to make the marriage work, but I wasn't giving her what she needed. She wasn't giving me what I needed. And for a while I was depressed, and what that caused me to do was spend money. I would just spend money trying to find happiness or get happiness, and it had a lasting repercussion, on me. That once I got through that depression through counseling and things like that, like it. Kind of a side effect on something that I told myself is I said, man, like I'm never going to allow any one person to have that kind of effect or hold on me like ever again. So to succinctly answer your question, yeah, I went through a depression cycle that caused me to ball out because I made good money and I was spending it like I had it.
Okay, rolling. All right. All right. So you started to excessively spend money.
Yes.
And that's where you negatively kind of, started spiraling. Okay. Grooming and Reviews.
A couple of years, about 10 to 12 years ago, I was in a serious relationship, engaged, all that stuff. Came home one day and I caught her in bed, my bed, with another man with my mother downstairs. Yeah. Ballsy.
Wait. In your bed with your mom, did your mom know that?
No.
Another dude? Okay.
Then we usually come from the garage door, but she came from the front door. My mom goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I live here." She goes, "I thought you were like," she used the front door, whatever. I didn't really think of anything.
Gotcha.
It was like whatever, and I literally walked in like they're right in the act as I walked in through the doors. Like, do I beat the crap out of him? Do I shoot him? Do whatever. Like, a lot of things went through my head, but fast forward, I won't say depression, the hurting. I got into a depression I didn't know about. I literally shut everybody out. I went to work, home. Didn't want to speak to anybody. Didn't want to deal with anybody, and that lasted for like several years. Till I realized something is wrong with me. And when I started going out, I'm like, oh, I actually miss being around people. Why am I not around people anymore? And once I started getting back out there and I just being myself again, I was like, I miss the old Pete. And I finally met the old Pete, and he evolved to a better person. 2.0, I call him now.
Now, was the root of that her, or did it turn out to be something deeper than her cheating? Because you said a few years.
Yeah.
So,
because
that's a good
I
question.
never really had good relationships with females because I always give her my heart 100%. To like, I will buy them flowers randomly, open the doors, you name it. Everything that you think you see in like a Notebook movie, you'll get with me. And I need to stop doing that because I end up getting hurt. They use my weakness, my kindness as weakness.
I gotta
And
say this real quick, okay? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Finish it. Sorry.
that's why I don't do that anymore. But I also believe, like, I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna be fake. I don't want to be tough. I'll be Pete, and that's all I want to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I
If
appreciate
you try to if you try to become tough because somebody pushed you into that, you're gonna make a lot of mistake and you're gonna end up in jail one day because it's just not on you. You see what I'm saying? Um, don't allow anybody to turn you into what you were not. Don't allow that. Leave her and walk away. Don't make people make you do dangerous things or things that will land you in jail while they're still moving on with their own life. Because look at it this way: if you had done anything to that individual, you're gonna go to jail, right? And she's gonna move on with the next man, and the one after that, and the one after that. But you in jail. But look at it this way also: there are things that women will not do to certain men because they know the consequences. You see what I'm saying? That's why we say that's why we say don't show weakness, because the more you show weakness to a woman, the more she can do something without the fear of any repercussion. Look at, there are men that if a woman does something to, she know that the incident is going to come for her head. What is she going to do? She's going to run and never come back. But then there are men that women will do something to and stay in that house and do that thing to him because she knows that he ain't going to do shit, right? That's why we say don't show weakness. Because once a woman disrespects you once and you don't do anything about it,
keep
she's
doing
going to
it.
do it again and again. Because once you draw that line and she crosses it, she will cross the rest of the lines and you can't do shit because she has never seen the consequences. There was no consequences for the first action. I am somebody that believes in consequences, even to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Even to my own self, I believe in consequences. That is why when people say whatever they want to say, I'll be like, you know what? I love you, but you have to pay restitution for your actions. Because if they don't pay restitution, that's why you see Christianity is the religion that created most of these monsters. Because of one thing, the forgiveness of sin. As soon as humans knew that the scripture, a religion said the forgiveness of sin, right? They went crazy with it. That's why people will do whatever they want to do today. You know what they're going to say to you? Oh, God is going to forgive me 70 times 7. No, there is no forgiveness. There is restitution. That's what I tell people all the time. There is restitution. Every action has equal and negative reaction. You're not going to get away with it. So you can go to the church and pray as long as you want to pray. You're going to still pay that price. If you become a single mama and you think that God is going to forgive you for your sins, your children are the punishment, because guess what? They're going to cry about their father. You're going to end up raising kids that will give you a hard time, and men are not going to want to deal with you because you're a single mom. You can't hold your shit together. You can't even close your legs when you're supposed to. Those are the restitution. Because one thing about our community, right? We pay so much. We pay so much consequences for our action that we became numb to it. You see what I'm saying? We became so numb to the consequences that we think is numb because we're numb to it. But if we understand that what we're doing is as a result, what we're passing through is as a result of the consequences of the decisions that we made, most of us wouldn't have been making this decision. Because when you are a single mother and you are broke all the years that your kids live with you, you couldn't tell your daughters that, hey, don't be a single mother like me. You see how I was with you guys? I was always broke, looking for men that come here and abuse you and take advantage of you because I was looking for money. I was looking for ways to get money out of those men, and they abused you guys because of my decision to have you. If you're not telling those kids that what they went through being molested in that house is as a result of your decisions, guess what? You will do everything as a mother to stop your kids from having kids out of wedlock, because they're going to also pay the same restitution. But they make it normal. Having a child out of wedlock is normal. And now the consequences of it is normal. I didn't have kids when I was out of, before I got married. You know why? Because I knew the consequences. The consequences to me was my pocketbook, was financial. And because it was financial, I decided not to have it until I got married. When you go ahead.
No, I was going to say you made some valid points, and I agree with consequences as well. But here's but you also countered that point as you was making it, because you said consequences, but then there's sometimes where people get numb to consequences, so it really doesn't have a resolution in that case. And so therefore, that's why I don't feel like consequences is always the only resolution, because really what we're trying to get is a resolution. And if somebody is numb to consequences, you get no resolution, and you face the same problem. And really, problem solving is our goal and key as leaders of the family, leaders of a country, leaders of a business, whatever the leader is being able to get resolution to some of the problems. And one method is not always a resolution find. That's one of the points. So, but I do agree with consequences can be a method of resolution, but it's not always, to your other point, which is sometimes people get numb. The other thing is that you made mention of when you show your woman vulnerability, weakness, that she will disrespect you. I can agree with that. But at the same time, it's not always about your women. I'm more so like, show men that you're not vulnerable. Because guess what? If you show and you make the men face the consequences, the women, as children do, will look at that and will not want to test you. If you're showing a man, you don't do that to me or my family or whatever the case may be, then you will not run into the problem where she's testing you in her nature, because she already has the fear that you just described earlier on today that is necessary in order to keep that balance or that discipline, or keep that her in her place, for lack of better words.
Yeah,
so it's not. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I disagree with that part right there, because a woman gonna try you regardless. I don't give a damn what she can show. He whoop men's ass every goddamn day. That woman always know, I can try you, and you better not touch me, because I am a woman. So yeah, I can't agree. About showing strength for. That's not going to stop a woman if she wants to disrespect you. Again,
I can understand that, Hank. And guess what? Then that woman. I'm sorry.
No, what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say, and that woman is the one of the 90% that Scam was talking about earlier, that we need to either kick to the streets, or unless we got a resolution to remedy it. But as far as doing things and not showing her this, that she sees it regardless whether you show it or not. And that's my point that I was making. If you got the weakness, she's going to see it.
That woman's your wife now. She's not just your woman. It's your wife. That's what I'm talking about. Even a wife will do that and show that at times. But speaking on what we was talking about, I appreciate me and EJ bringing damn near full circle. Some of the examples that man gave, talking about sharing with your wife or your lady that you was molested as a kid. Yeah, could you imagine if a man was to share that with a woman? First of all, the look she's going to give that man, and more than likely she's going to think something wrong with him and assume that's what he's going to do, just because he was done that way. You got a lot of women got that mindset like that. Instead of being sympathetic or comforting to the man, like, oh, I'm sorry that you went through that. First, you're gonna look like you had leprosy. They're gonna stay far away from you. And like, oh, I don't want you around my son. I don't want you around my children, because you might try to do the same thing somebody done to you. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And again, when I brought up the 90% of women are like, yes, they are. There's a lot like that. Sometimes you won't know until you know. And like again, she could be your wife by then. And I'm not the guy who doesn't believe in the divorce. That's me. I believe in working to the end till you can. Divorce is not an option for me. I didn't make it an option in my relationship. It's unfortunate she did. And that's the choice you make. Can't make nobody stay around if I don't want to, right? So it is what it is. But I'm going to fight it out and do what I need to do. But at the same time, can I really be vulnerable with you? Can I really share these things with you? And are you willing to be there for me and encourage me, uplift me? Now, I know my man was talking about, I think you said you got a woman now that you could just share and cry in front of her and she's okay with it. Cool. Sound like you got a good one. You better go and put a ring on it. Sound like it, dog. Because if not, another man's gonna eat that frog that you fed up for the mistakes. Just word to the wise. Don't let that woman stay out there without you putting a ring on it, dog. I'm just saying. This is my opinion. I don't know if you feel anything, groomsman. I don't know how you feel about marriage. If you don't, then that's cool. If you do, I think you probably won't do it because it sounds like she's a solid chick. But there's a lot of men that suffer right now that has to deal with those unsympathetic, don't give a damn about your vulnerability. It's all about me. The hell with your feelings. What about me? You know what I'm saying? What do you do about those? And again, sometimes they won't show their head until you already put a ring on it.
Well, Hank, I can answer the question. What do you do about those? I'm just a bachelor.
I got you.
But in all seriousness, you actually addressed some points of views that I was having in a conversation earlier with one of my exes. She said, "You have failed relationships. Why do you always talk about my failed relationships?" I said, "Difference is, I don't feel I've ever had a failed relationship. I had relationships that have failed me." Now, she said, "What do you mean? Hey, see how you switch that around?" I said, "Nah, what I mean is that I never left a relationship." To your point, I actually wanted to try. The person who leaves the relationship failed the relationship. And when that person leaves that relationship and you're still trying, then that relationship failed you. And so, to your point, I agree. I don't believe in divorce either. I believe in loyalty. I believe in working it out. But if in fact somebody is not working with me, then that relationship will fail me. Is the point that I made. So I just want to add that. You go ahead.
Do you guys, and we're going to get into final thoughts, but since Sean said it, let's just go there. Do you think that when someone leaves you, that you failed in relationship with that person?
No, I don't think so. Because it depends on what exactly happened. Also, it's like when the relationship just ended. I tried so hard. A little more backstory, you guys know. She got physical with me at one point. She threw a garden scissor at me, and I still gave her a second chance. I worked my ass off, provided everything as a man needed to and beyond. Worked 18 hours just to make sure she's happy. To do this, do that. I didn't fail. She left me. I didn't leave her.
Okay.
Well, but we know in society, that's not how it's looked at it. Unfortunately, that's not how it's looked. Because as a man, leader of the house, the leader of the community, the leader of your people, you're going to be the one that have to take that L. At the end of the day, my ex divorced me. I didn't divorce her. She divorced me. I failed the marriage. Now, I'm not sitting there saying I had no faults because I made some bad decisions. I did some things that I shouldn't have done. But at the end of the day, I got to take that L. I failed the marriage. Now, you know what I have to do? Learn from it. Move on. Grow. Be a better person to that next woman. To my next wife. Got to be better for her. Learn from my mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And anytime I get the opportunity, encourage another young man, hey, don't do what I did. Don't make the bad decision I did. Don't go out just because it's not looking, everything's not hunky-dory at home. Don't do that. Find a way how to figure it out. Get through it. You know what I'm saying? If that means you need therapy, get that therapy. If that means individual therapy, do it. If that means couples therapy, do it. Don't be afraid. So yeah, we have to take it L. It's a given. They gonna look at us like what happened? Why did your marriage not work? Or why did you even pick her? You seen the signs. You know what was going on. You chose to bless her with your last name.
Well, Hank, in that scenario, respectfully, you said your wife divorced you. No, you divorced your wife when you chose to go out and make those mistakes. And you're owning up to it now, but that's where you failed the relationship. So I do agree. But if you didn't do those things as you're planning to do in your future, then no. But if you in fact ran out and didn't live up to your vows, yeah, you left that relationship. You divorced that relationship right then and there. Whether we want to legally do it or on paper, you divorced it when you decided to make that decision. And we as men have to really own up to that and be able to face that reality as you're doing. So, like I said, respectfully, I hear you doing it. But yeah, that's when you divorced that relationship. Because you took a vow that you didn't live up to.
Any mistake a man makes, he's divorcing a relationship. Is that what you're saying?
What was that?
Are you saying any mistake a man makes in a relationship, he's divorcing the relationship? Is that what you're saying?
If a man is not disciplined to live up to the vows that he committed to, yes, he divorced the relationship because he should have not committed to them vows if he wasn't going to live up to them. Yes,
I gotta say something. I gotta say something about that. Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. The reason why you make statement like this is because the Western culture talks more about monogamous relationship. You see what I'm saying? Monogamy is what is preached in the West, but men by nature are not monogamous. You have to know that. Even though the system hasn't accepted that, but it is what it is. A man that goes out there did not divorce his relationship or does not divorce his relationship. There's something inherent in a man's nature to go outside. A man can only do so much to suppress it, but it does come out. You see what I'm saying? So I disagree with you in that regard. I disagree.
I understand that, and that's the poor excuse that men give each other often. And I'm tired of hearing an excuse. Because basically, let me explain why. Because I agree, if you have that nature and that's what you feel to do, and that, then you can own that and you can do that and you can be responsible for that without having to be deceptive about it. You can have several wives and you can fulfill those natures if you can afford to. And you need to be man enough to be able to do those things. Say you want to do those things and journey and lead your woman that way if that's what you want to do. But making the excuse, oh, I have a nature and I wasn't disciplined enough to contain it, that's a crock of nonsense that men like to use, and I'm tired of hearing men use it.
Let's table this one because I think that
I agree with you.
Whole episode to itself. Plus something that was said earlier that I think Precious would be a good topic for the men's panel as well. And it goes around picking, because, we have these things where we talk about, oh, you pick wrong. Well, how do we pick right? How do we vet better? I think that'll be a good episode. So put that one down as something that we do in the future. Let's table where we're at now with what Ekene and Sean's talking about. And close on the final thoughts.
All right. So we were talking about pretty much hurt and how it manifests mentally as well as physically. I'm trying to remember what's your name? I don't see it.
Reviews down in the
grooming
Call me
reviews.
Pete for short.
Pete.
What is it?
Peter for short.
He was very vulnerable, and he gave us a story about what happened to him, and some things that did hurt him. And so we're just ending this and doing some final words on pretty much how you can start to heal the hurt. Because like the man in the video said, a lot of men are carrying around so many things that they are hurt by. They are not necessarily admitting that they do need women because of the lack of love that they have themselves. But I believe even before you get a woman in your life and you're looking for her to heal your hurt, or you're looking for her to assist and aid you in your hurt, you have to do some things prior to being in a relationship with a woman, because there's a difference between being someone's support system and somebody needing you as an emergency room. And I think that when men don't deal with their hurt and their anger and their anxiety and things like this, they may get with a woman and now they feel this comfortable, and she becomes the emergency room. She's not necessarily a wife, right? She's not necessarily your wife. So she doesn't necessarily have the obligation to aid and assist you back to care. But when you don't address those things, people become your emergency rooms and not just someone that can aid and assist you, because it's something you have already been dealing with yourself. So in final thoughts, how, in your opinion, guys, how would you say that men need to start to heal their hurt before the woman? Because this is what we're talking about, doing the work. So you have to do that before you meet her, and continue to do that, while you're with her. But how would you guys say that you should start that healing?
To me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
To me, I think that was the hardest part, to forgive and move on, because back in your mind, you maybe not realizing it, not mentally, you always remember, oh, what if she does that again? The trust factor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very hard to give. Like her throwing the garden scissors at me. How do I know next time it's not going to be a machete or an axe? How do I trust somebody again? Even going to my next relationship, how do I trust again? Me was therapy. I'm getting over that through therapy. Learn how to trust again. That was my biggest thing. Always trust, because people call it insecurity. I don't call it insecurity. I call it trust, because I don't know if I can trust people, and it's really hard for me to trust people. If you're in my clique, I trust you. If you're a part of my group, my boys, whatever, woman or man, it doesn't care who you are. I don't care anything of that. I don't care if you're from China or from Mars. If you're in my clique, you're my clique. I got you back no matter what. And King can vouch for this. He knows how I am by now. And therapy is helping me. And yes, as a woman for therapy, I know, Hank, you don't like that.
It's working for you, so
That's what matters. I just gotta throw
right.
I just gotta throw out there.
All right. Ikene, did you want to go next?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing is this, right? The problem in the society why we have a lot of feminine men is because we feminized our men too much. Why would you be? I never really hugged my mom after I turned 8 years old or 7. I don't remember hugging my mom after 7 years old. You see what I'm saying? I never really remember my mom hugging me. But one thing that I do remember is the discipline. Some of them I didn't agree with when I was little, but as I got older, I agree with the discipline, because without her discipline, I don't know where I would have been. Because most of my friends that weren't disciplined, they messed up today. Some of them are not even alive anymore, you know? But one thing that I have to say is this. It's never okay to raise a son as a woman. When your son turns the age of 6 or 7, send that boy to his father. except if his father doesn't want nothing. If his father doesn't want nothing, like he's doesn't have a man that doesn't have the prerequisite to be a father, then send it to uncles or maybe to grandfather. You remember me saying that last time, right? Precious, I think I said the same thing last time. It's always good, but then you told me your story. Then I kind of, took it back from Lapif Network, right? Like I kind of, soften it. But it's always good to do that, because it's not okay for women to raise boys. Boys are explosive. Masculinity, one thing you have to understand is masculinity is very explosive. A single man can do damage to 10 men. That quick, that fast. It's like a lion. If you know how a lion can attack and crush within a few seconds, that's the same thing with a man. A man can do a lot of damage to other men within 10 seconds, 20 seconds. So being able to have yourself in a more subtle way when you try to do something bad, or being able to control your anger as a human being, as a man, is things you learn from another man. You don't learn that from your mother, because your mother most of the time is explosive because your dad wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? She operates in her femininity. So it's always good to send your sons back to their father or somebody, a father figure.
All right. Thank you so much, Ekene. All right. Who didn't give final thoughts? Hank, King went, Pete went, Hank, you went, right? You went first. Did you go? No, you didn't go? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Final thoughts and how men can start to heal the hurt before the women.
Well, again, I agree with it. Therapy is very important for men. Month of June is Men's Mental Health Month. A lot of men should have took advantage of it. Most men who works a job and they got pretty decent to good benefits, you got that EAP. Take advantage of it. And fortunate thing with that EAP is you get 8 free visits before you have to start paying anything. Take advantage of it. Go seek somebody. Now, with me, I wouldn't go see a female therapist. I understand my man that he's okay, he's comfortable with it. Cool. What's best for him is best for him. I just wouldn't. Now, I'm to the point I wouldn't. The color of the therapist doesn't matter to me, because as long as he's a man, I know he can understand what I'm going through as far as men issues and relate to some of the things I'm dealing with. The color of the therapist doesn't matter to me, and it really shouldn't matter to you as a man. But now, if that's your preference to go to a black therapist, I understand. I was the same way until it was to the point where I couldn't find a black therapist. I'm 6 months out, even though I got a lot of things I got going on with my head, in my mind, in my heart, in my life. I couldn't afford to wait 6 more months. I waited too long. So that means I had to find the first one who's available. And fortunately, the first one available was the best one for me. The one I ended up going to. Matter of fact, to the point where he recommended me. I got in there 2 weeks later with a black therapist. I went in for about 2 sessions, and I went back to my white therapist because I was getting more from him. I got more from my white therapist. Now, I don't know why, but he just spoke my language. And he can relate because his wife is black, so maybe that's the reason. His kids are biracial. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know, but he understands some of the things I was dealing with. Even when I was talking about race relation issues with the man, he sympathized with me, so I was good with that. But again, I encourage every man to go get therapy. Every black man, when you come out the womb, you need to have a therapist on retainer right offhand, because of the traumas we got to deal with on a daily basis. It's going to drive you crazy if you let it. Do the right thing. Now, again, about what DJ was saying, I agree with him. But at the same time, do you got one of them 10% women who's going to be open enough and allow you to be vulnerable with them? I don't know. Only you know. I hope you do. I hope you're blessed with that type of woman. And if you are, congratulations. For the other 90%, man, I feel bad for you. Get out. Get away from that woman. Because sounds like she's going to end up being a selfish woman. Because it's not about you. It's about what you can do for her. And if that means you're going through it, and you're going through it more than 2 or 3 days, and you're not healing fast enough to the point where you can refocus back on her, that's going to be a problem. And that's not the type of woman you look for. So men, keep on doing what y'all need to do. We're going to be great. Our time is coming. We're going to take over this motherfucking planet once again like we did before. I believe in nepotism. I have no problem with some of my white brothers who agree with nepotism. I agree. I would do it too if I was y'all. I agree with it because when my time comes, we're going to take over. I'm going to hand off to my son. That's called nepotism. I'm going to hand off to my granddaughter. That's called nepotism. And they will help control the world just like I did. Thanks, Precious, for even having me. I apologize for my throat. I'm getting over this, but I'll be there soon. I'll be full force. And y'all ain't gonna shut me down. I'll put me on mute no goddamn more.
Don't apologize. We hope you feel better. Thanks so much for at least lending your time this evening with your voice. I really do appreciate it. Alrighty. And Sean, did Sean give final thoughts?
Yes, I am here. No, I didn't.
Okay. Final
Hank,
thoughts?
first and foremost, hope you feel better, bro. Even with that sore throat, you still got that baritone, Barry White thing going on. Salute. To my other brothers on the line, I appreciate your points of views as well. What do? We need to take time. Time. And what you do with that time is up to you. But, therapy is one method, one resolution. I mean, one way, but the time that you need to take is time to learn how to forgive the person that hurt you. And most importantly, time to take to learn how to forgive yourself for allowing you to be hurt. And then go into a relationship. But take that time before you get into another relationship is what I would recommend. And that's something that a lot of us don't always take into consideration. We often prematurely get into relationships, and that's not just men, that's people in general. And I think for any heartbreak or hurt or pain, we need to really identify, and whether it's therapy or whether it's time or whether it's the Lord or wherever it is, wherever it comes from, it's your choice. But really try and get it done before you get engaged with someone else is really the key that I think we need to start trying to do.
All right. Did everybody go? King, did you go?
No, I'm good. The things that I said earlier still apply. No, I take that back. I'm gonna add one thing to it. I'll give just for me personally, it took going through it, right, and taking a period where I really had to work on myself. I always say that there's several pillars. You got your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. If you know what I'm saying, that's your jam. If you keep those 3 or 4 pillars strong, then you're able to, I think, be a leader for somebody that comes into your life or that you choose to share life with. If those pillars are shaky before you meet somebody, that's one thing. But I think we should have a conversation about what happens when a pillar gets shaky afterwards and the person that you have in your life violates that. What do you do? That's all I've got.
All right. And I think everyone has given their final thoughts at this point. I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate those who have showed up in the chat, who have interacted with us. I appreciate those who have sent cash apps. I got a couple of cash apps that came through, so I do appreciate you guys for that. If you do want to donate, you can always send to Michelle 1500 to my cash app. So my final words this evening would be 3 words, right? Faith. Actually, it's 4 words, but the last one is 2 words. Faith, words, and self-care. Right? So we have to put our faith into action. If we're made in God's image, come on, what are we doing? If you made in God's image, you need to start walking around like that. You need to start brushing yourself off like that because um anger, sadness, we talked about the things that we don't deal with when we get to hurt, right? We don't deal with the anger, we don't deal with the sadness, we don't deal with the shame, we don't deal with the guilt, and we don't deal with the anxiety. All of those things are intangible. You can't grab any one of those things and say, be good now. I'm at anger, be okay now. No. Those are things that are intangibles. Those are things that we need a higher power to help us with, because there are going to be times where we don't know when someone is going to pass away, and that is going to give us anxiety because that person probably used to take care of us, right? We don't have any control over that. So we have to get into the rhythm of being in the rhythm with the person who's in control, because we think we have a lot of control and we really don't. We really don't. You only can control what you can control, but the things that you cannot control, if you don't get in contact and connection with the person who does control everything, the spirit that does control everything, then you're going to lose control trying to have control of everything. So I say faith. You have to have faith. You have to have something that's bigger than you that you are then submitting to, that you are saying, okay, I've done my job for the day. There's nothing else I can do. I need to depend on the Lord. Because y'all already know what my saying is. Only Jesus saves. You can't save nobody, and can't nobody save you. Only Jesus saves. My next word would be words. Words are powerful. Words, we don't usually get out. We don't always get out the words that we want to say to someone. We don't always get out the words that we need to say to ourselves. Someone earlier was talking about, I believe it was Pete. He was like, I need my girl. I need her to say, certain things, and I need her to be there. But sometimes, this is a song that I learned back being in church. Sometimes we have to encourage ourselves, because when there is nobody else there, I need to know that because of my faith, I can encourage myself. And then that then gives me strength that if nobody else is around, I really can't depend on that. So I have to have faith and use my words to encourage myself, because when I don't have nobody else around and everybody done turn their backs on me, I need to know that I'm standing in faith and I'm dealing with God. It's just me and him at this point. We're going to ride this thing out. So we have to have our words, and not only with God, right? Because you guys talked about therapy. So I always say God in therapy. God in therapy saved me. It wasn't just therapy. It wasn't just going to Barnes and Nobles and going to the self-help section. It was therapy too. Because I needed somebody to tell me, like, okay, this trauma is making you repeatedly do this. This trauma is why your mouth is foul. This trauma is why you can't get along with, so-and-so. I needed someone to tell me that. I needed to get into the practice of learning why my emotions were the way that they were. And then after that came the faith. And then after that came the words. But then after the words and being able to be honest with God, with a therapist, with someone, you always need one person that you are totally honest with. If that's not your woman, ooh, I can't force that on you for that to be your woman. For most men, it's not their woman. There are a lot of things you don't tell your wife that you tell your homeboy. Okay? And vice versa. But there has to be somebody that you're honest with, somebody that you could be hot with. Let's have this hot conversation really quick. Honest, open, and transparent. Let's have a hot moment. Because I have to get this off my chest. I had to be able to get this off of me, because I want to, y'all already know how I do. I travel light. We travel light around here. We're not heavy burdened with anything. Okay, we travel light. So you have to be honest with someone, but you have to use your words in order to do that. And then sometimes if you just got to write it down and it just be a prayer in your heart that you and only God know. Sometimes you just got to do that. And see if the next week the prayer changed. Like, oh, I don't even feel this heavy no more, because I've been practicing getting it out. And then my last is self-care. Okay, we have to self-soothe in a healthy way. We have to be able to go on walks, go read, go out in the earth and live and do things that bring us joy. Go travel, go play golf, go hang out with people that make you smile. Go bowl and do do some things. Don't sit around in the house when it's nice out and you moping and you can't get up off off the bed. No, force yourself to do self-care. Because the better you feel about yourself, the better you're going to feel about your situation, the things around you. Okay? So those are my 3: faith, words, and self-care. If we can work on our faith, if we can work on our words and how we talk to ourselves and how we talk to others around us and who we share what with, and we can have that vulnerability partner. And then self-care, being able to pick ourselves up when we feel like the world has beaten us down. That's what we have to do for ourselves. So somebody want to call you, you're not available today. I don't care if all the hours on the clock are free for you. You're not available. You're going to get a massage. You're going to get a pedicure or a manicure. You're going to go play golf, and you're doing that all day. You're going to go sit and read a book by the water. And that's what you're doing. You have to schedule you in there, because as men, you guys have a lot going on. You have a lot of responsibility. You take on a lot, and you do it effortlessly. But there are times where you need your time and you can't feel guilty about that. So take it, do what you need to do. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate those who have watched. This has been a great show. We will be back next Monday with the men's panel. I took some of your ideas down, King, on the next show. So we will be talking about picking wrong, and we will be talking about is it just in the nature of a man? Sean said he's tired of hearing it. He's tired of hearing it. Okay, get it together down there. So we're going to throw some of those things into the next show. But I really appreciate you guys. Again, we'll be back on Monday. And you guys know what I always say. Keep it real with yourself so you can keep it real with others. I appreciate you guys. Have a great night. And happy 4th of July. Have a good holiday.
Thank you, Precious. Happy 4th of July. Happy holidays to everyone too.